All right, there we are. Sorry for the little bit of delay there, but I was trying to get my sound turned off on YouTube before I open things up here, and for whatever reason, it was taking forever for the YouTube side to pop up so I could turn the sound off before I turned on the microphone. Get things kind of adjusted here so I can see what's going on. Nick chimed in and said 5 minutes ago. Well, it was 5 minutes ago when I typed that. So, all right. Well, if y'all can hear me, go ahead and chime in and see how things are working before we get too far into it, so I don't waste my breath. I don't think we got too many. Well, we might have a few watching. Got a few watching here. It's kind of a last minute. Last minute pop up here that I decided to do this, but I thought I'd do one bangs. I hadn't done one for a week and kind of show you what's going on with the holsters and everything, because I know there's some of you that are interested. All right, so Nick can hear us. Garrett's here. And folks will chime in here. Like I said, this was kind of impromptu. I only gave a half-hour notice when I set this one up. But I got a new holster to show. Mike Arnold says, reading you licking chicken. Okay. Yeah, about the parts for the holster, Nick. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to respond to that because everything ended. I haven't got them yet. They should be showing up here pretty soon. I got to get the acorns in so I can figure out how to make an anvil for them. And I'm waiting for another tool that's going to be coming in here too, for molding holsters. RDT, what's up, all? Hello. So, yeah, phone's beeping at me. For some reason, there's some chat. The chat's acting weird between StreamYard and YouTube. All right. Mark, that sounds loud and clear. Military speak. Okay, I got you. I figured it was something to that effect. John Galen says, clear. Zombie Killer. Oh, glad you're enjoying them. Trapper Paul. Okay, Trapper, they hid that one. I'm going to go ahead and show it. Yeah, that was off of a Facebook comment there. I don't remember where that was at, but whose post that was on, but I remember that one. All right. So is everybody having a good week so far? We're starting to finally feel like spring here. We got to 67 degrees yesterday. I think we pushed that today. So spring's definitely a lot different than what we had there in February with that cold crap. Yeah, nothing important. All right. Zombie Killer, do I own any double action revolvers? Yeah, I got a Taurus 856. That's my carry gun now because my Smith & Wesson SD40 went to crap on me, and come to find out it was just the mag release is what had screwed up on it. And I could have fixed it. Instead, I sold it and I bought a Taurus 856. I've actually never fired it. but I've got it. That's kind of my everyday carry. I need to get out to the range and see how it does. But it's got such a damn short barrel on it. It's going to be just a point and shoot anyway. Let's see. Curious because I'm also stuck on 3 choices on double action revolver for my carry woods gun. If you're going to carry one in the woods, I go a little bit bigger than the 856 because that's just a 38 special. But it's what they had at the time, and I could afford that. I just about covered it with selling my SD40. Taurus makes a nice 44 Magnum. It's a little bit cheaper than a Smith & Wesson. If that's what you're going to use in the woods, that's what I go with is a 44. The only reason I didn't get a 44 Magnum is they didn't have one at the time, and I had to chime in a little bit extra money, which wouldn't have been too terrible at that time. John Galen says, do I have a carry knife? Me and knives. I have got more damn pocket knives around here because I like to carry a pocket knife. But I keep losing the damn thing. I always lose them. So my carry knife changes pretty often. In fact, the one I had in my pocket this morning is gone. Imagine it's over at my uncle's. Because that's where I was doing some stuff today. But one knife I carry sometimes is my grandfather's old timer. I used to have my great grandmother's Barlow, which had been in the family since the 1930s. I don't know where that got to. I didn't lose it, or I didn't completely. It's somewhere around this house. And then I've got a Barlow that I bought that's a reproduction. That's actually about as good as the original one. And I carry that when I'm doing my historical interpretations. Let's see. Other than that, the only thing I carry every day, also when I'm doing my historical, is I carry a Sheffield scalping knife, which is, it's a Sheffield out of England. And I was carrying it in this rawhide. So I made this rawhide sheath because I was carrying it for a trapper, mountain man impersonation. I made this rawhide sheath. Well, I carried it every day. In the summertime, I sweat, and this thing, has gotten distorted from the sweat. But the other thing is that, all that sweat, the whole salt in it got into this rawhide, and it really itched my knife bad. So I've got to take that over to my uncle's. He's got a belt sander for knives. I'm going to polish that back out. It's not too terrible deep. I carry that one. I get a lot of use out of this. I made a new sheath for it. So this sheath is one I just made a couple days ago. And no, I don't offer knife sheaths like I do for holsters, because knife sheaths, each blade's a little bit different from the next. So I'd actually have to have a knife to get it with a welt and everything. But that's the sheath. It goes with my the holster. I had a brain fart. I was doing this late at night. I was going to run spots all the way around so that it would match up. Yeah, well, I only got these in. So, but it's once I get it dyed, rest it, they'll match up fairly nice. Okay, we got some chats in here. Zombie says, I'm stuck on a Smith & Wesson Model 27 Classic and a 6-inch barrel, a Smith & Wesson 586 Classic with 6-inch. Or like you said, Taurus revolver. I really want to judge 6.5-inch barrel. It takes 3-inch 410 shells. I wouldn't screw around with the Taurus judges, to be honest. I really wouldn't, because you go to shoot a slug in there, that bullet's got to go fly through, so much cylinder before it hits that rifling, and that kind of screws with them. If you go to shoot the 45 Colts out of it. So I just go with, if you don't want to go with a full 44 mag, I go with a 357 Magnum at least. Let's see. Nick says I can make a sheath for that, Duke. You talking about the Sheffield knife? Because, yeah, I just showed that sheath. Let's see. John Galen says I carry a skinning knife, a buck skinning knife. 6-inch buck is a brand. I don't have a pistol permit. Carry usually a box cutter. Yeah, usually I always have. I used to have a DeWalt. I've actually got 3 of them because I keep. Remember I said every time I go to town I buy one because I keep losing them. But I got 3 of the DeWalt flip out blades. I got a DeWalt box cutter which turned into being my fishing knife because I never had a knife when I was fishing, so I threw that one in the tackle box. And it was nice because it had you could retract the blade before you folded it up, which I really enjoyed that part of it. Like I said, I got the Barlow, got the Sheffield, and then I've got this thing which I haven't been carrying because at work, when I was working at the last national park I was at, this living history site, there was pretty big sticklers on historical accuracy, and I bought this one to carry. Only problem is it's got a big hex not on the end of it, which that's not period correct, not until you get up until later 1800s. So I'm going to take this over. I'm going to grind that off, and then this will also be a knife I'll carry for my historical impersonations. Only thing I got against this knife is when they ground it to where the blade has a twist. And that's not a warp. I don't know if I get it lined up on camera. That's not a warp from quenching or anything. That's how they ground it. They grounded it to the point to where it twisted it. So, but I'll add it on. It's good decoration. Nothing else. Okay, zombie killer. I'll highlight that one. Yeah, 357 Magnum ain't bad. Just, make sure you got hearing protection. That goes for any shooting, but with a 357, you really got and a 44 mag, you really got to have that hearing protection. They're really, really loud. That's why I'm partially deaf in my left ear. It's because I had a 44 Magnum go off next to my head. I shot a 44 Magnum one-handed, and if you got a long barrel, it's not bad, but it's not pleasant either. I would recommend getting something with a rubberized grip on it. Good buddy of mine bought one. He got a stainless steel one that had the rosewood grips, and that rosewood was not really fitted to the gun well, I didn't think. And he was going to upgrade the grip on it. But that rosewood, when you shoot that, I mean, that thing would just tear up your hand in here. But with rubberized grips, they're great. So yeah, think about that when you go to buy one. And a longer barrel, less recoil, but harder it is to swing around. So it's up to you what you want to use it for. Garrett Woods, do you know any good books covering the 55 root pistols? I haven't. Haven and Belden and others. Can you think of? I think Haven and Belden touch on them. I got another book right over here. Let me look. So, before we start showing off some holsters here. Okay, so this is the Bible, as I call it. This is the Haven and Belden. And I do believe they have a section on Ritz. See, the Walkers and the Dragoons. I know I've got a book that's got some Ritz in it. Yeah, okay, this is one I was thinking of because whoever was the previous owner of this was studying up on the revolvers, because he's got all kinds of notes in here. And I mean, this guy knew his stuff. He really had looked into a lot of his information, but there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages on it, and Haven and Belden's. There might be more. I need to read through all this. There's a lot in there, but I've also got Severn's, which Severn covers a little bit more. He covers all the firearms at Colt. Belden, I think they do more of the handguns, and they worry about some of the others. What I can say is that Haven and Belden are great. Severn is more of a supplemental because he's got some stuff in there that Haven and Belden miss on. I could go to this thing called the Index and save myself a lot of time. Root model pistols, C sight hammer. Sight hammer pistols, sight hammer shoulder arms. So yeah, it looks like he's only got about 3 pages on them. 124 to 127. Yeah, they don't have too much. I don't think he's got much more than what Haven and Belden have. Yeah, he's just 3 pages and 2 of them are pictures. So really it's about 1.25 pages of information. So yeah, that's about all I got on them. So hopefully that answers your question there. Let's see. John Galen says, looks like a Confederate dagger or something. Arkansas toothpick. I just typed in Arkansas toothpick. I think I got this from Crazy Crow. It's not a bad knife, but it's not great either. It's a good showpiece. Thule Cowboy says, try 41 Magnum Zombie. I've never shot 41 Magnum. I know what. It's not a common caliber I see. Usually when you go to the gun stores, you always find 357, 44, but try the 41. Let's see. Trapper Paul. Currently, they do not have a repro of the root. Trying to think, it was Army San Paulo, I think is who it was, for a while made copies of the root carbines, which were 44. There was a guy I know, was a fellow reenactor. He had one, and he was getting a hold of a machinist. They was going to try to make a new run of them, only there was going to be cartridge conversions in 4570. I do not know what became of that. I had another buddy that was going to let me borrow his to do a video, and then we kind of just fell out of touch, and I never got a chance to do it. Alan Evans. Hey, Alan, yeah, your holster is still in the finishing bin. Yeah, so I got it. I'll bring it up. I'll show it off. So Alan ordered a custom one, and I'm proud to say it turned out all right. If I had to do it over again, I'd give a little bit more room on the belt loop here, because at least with my gun, I'm using a single action Army. I'm not sure, Alan, you had a different gun. Not sure how that'll fit, but I would have gave it a little bit more room there. But overall, I wore this around for half a day, and it was just fine. Worked good. But yeah, I haven't got to finishing yet. I still gotta burnish the edges here around the holster, and then get her dyed up. She'll be ready to go. But I was trying to wait to do that till I get a bunch of these holsters done, so I can do that all at once, because doing it in one holster at a time, it gets to be kind of a pain. But yeah, it should be, I want to say probably by middle of next week at least. If I keep going on the rate I'm going on, I should be having it done or getting close. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holsters to stitch. I got 2. I got to put 2 plugs in, and 3. Well, I got 2. I got to finish with toe plugs, and they'll be done. See, I got whatever I just said, 5 left to sew, and then I'll be starting that finishing process. So it won't be long. It'll be a lot shorter than that last batch I did that were custom ordered. God, that took me 4 months, and I'm not really proud of myself for taking that long to do that. And then there were some orders that I didn't even get to because the people when I went to contact them about if they still interested, they never even emailed me back. So that's on me though. That's my fault. So Zombie Killer asked for a holster on that. I don't currently make holsters for those. If I had an outline of the gun, I might be able to make something. But basket weaving is not something that I'm very good at. So that one, I hate to stir away business, but if you want something kind of that style, you might have to go with another company. I was trying to think. There was a company that makes a really nice one, but it's really, really expensive. More than I would charge, but it's pretty good quality holster too. If I can remember what that is, I'll post it up here or mention it in the next chat or something. But yeah, that's I don't have anything for the modern ones. Like I said, I'm trying to think. My uncle has one. That's that old school like you're talking about. It's the police, and they kind of cock them forward a little bit. But he got his when he was in the police force back in the 70s, so that was a little while ago. Let's see. Big D. I actually have a cheap airbrush. It's actually my uncle's airbrush. I just hate setting that thing up and running it because it throws fits. Because I used to, and I don't have time to do it anymore. I would, but I used to be one of those scale modeler guys. So the model airplanes, model tanks, and stuff. The problem is I get to painting on a model, and then once I get it painted, I wouldn't put the decals on and leave it tracks and wheels off, and I never usually get them finished. I don't know how I've got 3 B-17s that I've got half built that ain't finished. But yeah, I've got the airbrush, and that airbrush was always throwing a fit. But for like black dye, that one, it don't matter. Dark brown doesn't seem to matter too much to putting it on with a wool dauber. When you start talking about light brown and medium brown vibings, oh crap, that stuff, by the time you get an even coat, it's dark brown. So it's I've looked into doing that. I just haven't messed with it yet. I might give that a try here though soon. Things I've got 2 bottles of got a bottle of light and a bottle of medium brown, and I'd like to see how they turn out if I can get a nice coverage. Alan asked if I got 2 holsters that are dyed different colors to kind of show. Yes, I might have 3. Where the hell did my other one go? It's over here. And in the lighting, I've got the one might not show very well. So this is black. And with a black holster, I always put a coat of black Resolene over the top because that evens it out, gives a little bit of a shine, makes it look really nice. And also that Resolene, it does not wear off on the body because that black dye, Jesus, once you put it on there, it rubs off on everything. So I put the Resolene on there, makes it look nice and slick. And this is for this particular model holster is for the 60 Army 51 Navy. It's a civilian half flap. This is a russet color, and this one turned more light brown. I've had them turn out where they kind of look a little red. This one kind of turned out a light brown. It was a different bottle of russet. But this cut had the hide had some lines in it, some stretch marks from the animal, and it kind of gave it a tiger stripe. I really enjoy that one. But yeah, that's a russet color. And then this is dark brown. So I don't know how well that shows. Now, some of the holsters I've dyed with dark brown, they turn out to where they're almost black. This one didn't. This one actually has more of a brown look to it. Of course, this is my personal one. This one's been used out in the sun a lot. So this isn't a freshly dyed holster like the other two I showed. This one I made a year or two ago. So it's been around a little bit. But this is one of my favorite holsters. This is actually the prototype for this particular model. And it's the one prototype I had turn out perfect the first time, and I really didn't have to make much adjustment other than whenever I do this one, I got to egg out the ends of the first loop here, because if you don't, I can't get a gun in that. Actually, I've got a fourth. This is just plain neat's foot oil. So this is natural leather. And this, if you put it in the sunlight, will darken on its own. Well, it's just plain neat's foot. I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead here. So what I was thinking, Alan, if it's all right with you, I was going to go with this russet color. If not, if you'd rather have the brown, I can do the brown too. But right now I've got plenty of russet dye. My dark brown dye I'm running low on. My black, I think I've got enough black to do a couple holsters. But I got plenty of russet dye if you like that color, and that's, like I said, that one right there. It's a little bit darker than the natural. Let's see, Nick. Yeah, go ahead and throw your email up. I don't care. Yeah, if you can help out Zombie Killer on his holster, that would work good. Okay, North Cowboy 1876. I'm just going to get to you and Garrett Woods too, because you guys responded to a poll we recently had. Let's see. I want to share screen. Let's see. That's the second one we're going to get to. All right. Let's see if I can share screen. Chrome tab. Let's see, it's the second one. I think this is the right one. Whoops, nope. Wasn't the right one. Hang on a second here. We're gonna do that one here in a minute. Give me a second here because I'm not real coordinated with this. No, that's the same one again. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll talk about this first so I can close this one, then I'll be squared away. All right. So we did a poll. A couple of them here. One of them was for sales because I got a bunch of holsters here that I'm going to put on sale. And I asked y'all what was your preferred buying platform. And the overwhelming majority of you commented or voted for Etsy as your preferred platform. So I'm going to post a bunch of holsters on Etsy. And there was one or two that had commented that they preferred to use eBay. I might throw a couple on eBay. Won't be too many of them. But I might throw a couple on there. The big reason why that is the eBay's charging 12.5% of what I sell a holster for. So I got to pay them 12.5% of my sales. In order for me to kind of keep coming out at the same amount, I would have to increase it, which would be almost a $10 increase on each holster. So I checked out Etsy. I've sold one holster on Etsy before. They only charge, I think, 5% is what it is. Oh, it's right there on the screen so you can see it. So I think I'm going to go with Etsy to list them. So I will, once I get these all done and I get them listed, I'll advertise on a chat. I'll post it on the Facebook page, the links to that. And I'll have them up there for you to folks to look at and to buy. There is one holster to definitely be going on eBay if I decide to sell it. It kind of turned out to be a piece of junk here, and let me get rid of the screen and I will show you that one. And then we'll get back to the Schofield question. So this holster was so nice, I decided to make it twice. And this one, I gave it a little bit more bling. The only problem with this holster is I don't know what happened to my pattern. I don't know what happened to my leather, or if it was a combination of the two. This holster did not come out square. I finally got it to where it's mostly square here along the seam. But when I first started with this holster, this thing was kinked over. I mean, it was like a S going down that. I had to wet it and get it stretched out, and I thought maybe it was the way I cut the leather. No, I had another one. This one didn't turn out as bad, but this is the same pattern, and it did the same thing. Different piece of leather, different spot where it should have been a little bit better leather, and it twisted on me. And what was really aggravating is that this holster is a derivative of this pattern, and I cut them and they turn out just about perfect every time. There's a little bit of a swell in there. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what happened on that. I folded my pattern over. My pattern lines up perfect on both sides. I don't know what it is. Just you get ready to start sewing this and it goes to crap. So it threw a fit there. And then when I started trimming it up to match up the sides, I damn near got down into my stitching. I didn't get there. So I'm not going to take a sander to this one. It's about as close as it's going to get. I think I can burnish everything flat. And then about did the same thing over here on this side too. It about got trimmed into the stitching. And I was going to put this on eBay and put it on auction. I don't even know if I want to list it now. It just doesn't look all that great. But I'm going to put the toe plug in it. I'll get it dyed. I'll get it burnished up. I'll see how it looks at the end. But I really, really don't know if I want to throw this on eBay or not. It's just kind of a cruddy. And then I kind of got a little wonky on my spot line on top. But if anybody would be interested in bidding on this holster, if I put it up on eBay, shout out. And that might make up my mind if I put it up there. But if it wasn't for the fact I put all the spots on this thing would have went in the junk bin. And this one is lined as well. I found a piece of chrome tan deerskin. And I lined this one. So if you do wind up buying it, if this does go on eBay and you do wind up buying it, you don't want to store a gun in there long term because I've got chrome tan leather in there. And that will eat up a gun pretty fast. Let's see. I need to catch up here. Let's see. Zombie Killer said, if I ever tried a Traditions Frontier 45 long Colt 7.5 inch, no, I don't mess with the Traditions guns because they're the cheaper knockoff or cheaper Pieta ones. A lot of them have transfer bars. I don't like transfer bars. Not my historic guns. Double actions is fine. Alan says, I like the rest. Okay, we'll do that. Mama Murphy, hello. Let's see. Scott Grumpy. How we doing, Scott? Doing everything good tonight so far. Nick said, where did you cut it and what part of the hide? So that one with the spots came off. So I used double shoulders. That one come off more towards the armpit side. And so I thought that was the issue. This one come right dead square out of the middle, and it's doing the same thing. This one come out right next to it. It's going to do the same thing because when I put it together and fold it up, it does not line up. The pattern lines up perfect. You fold this one in half, it doesn't line up. I'll show you here. I was using the needle to kind of line it up. When I get everything lined up perfect, there is a huge section here that doesn't want to line up. I don't know why it does that. That's why it's curving so bad. But the pattern's square. Everything's square. It shouldn't do that. I don't know if my leather had been rolled up for over a year. I don't know if that caused it to do it. I don't know. It's aggravating. But what ticks me off is, the other pattern comes out perfect. And it's just a square too. So, let's see. So yeah, I just answered that one, Scott, on the what part of the leather come off the side of a double shoulder. Damn, and kinked when it dried. No, it got wet to take the kink out. I had to wet it to get the kink out of it. I was surprised it did, but once I got it in there and I twisted the gun a little bit, it just went perfect line. And that's all I did too, is I slid the gun in there, and all I did was I grabbed the holster here, grabbed the handle of the gun, and just gave it a twist. Perfect alignment. Just it boggles me. Alan, are you talking about the spotted one that I'm contemplating putting on eBay for the price? Because if I put that on eBay for auction, the plan was I was going to start the auction at 120. Now I don't know. That ain't $120 holster in my mind. So let's see. I got to catch up here. We got to go. We was going to go do this other poll here. Walks Fletcher, what's your eBay handle? I don't know if I got an eBay handle on there or storefront. Last time I sold, I just listed a bunch that I could sell. So I'll have to look it up. My Etsy is Duke Fraser Holsters, I believe. Which brings up another point. We got a new Instagram if you're interested. It's Duke Fraser Holsters. So look us up on Instagram if you're on Instagram. I've got some pictures over there posted. Let's see. Nick says that is the issue. Where I cut it on the double shoulder. Yeah, I figured that was probably the issue with that one, but the issue is going over to other holsters too, so I don't know what's going on there. Let's see. Zombie Killer says, are you still doing the Bohannons? Yes, I've got a Bohannon I'm getting ready to sew up here. So that one will be placed on the Etsy store when I get it done. Mama Murphy says, try conditioning it. Maybe a little dry staying so long. Yeah, I'm wondering if it wasn't because it's been rolled up for so long that when I cut it, it was relieving stress and it's causing it to go one way. But you would think that if that was the case, every holster I cut out of that piece would be doing the same thing. But no, it's just that particular model, and it's baffling. Let's see. Zombie had another one on that. Can I do a John Marston holster from Red Dead Redemption? Marston's holster is a drop leg. I don't play around with drop legs. But if you really want a Marston holster really bad, go to Historical Emporium. I don't remember what the name of the model is. They've got one on there that is almost identical to Marston's holster. And the thing about those holsters, though, is I've got one. They're junk. They use cheaper chrome tan leather, and then they put a metal lining in there to form the holster. And that metal lining, if you carry a gun in there for a long period of time, will wear through the leather, and then it starts wearing on the gun. I had that problem with my 4440. But if you want one just for decoration, that you can go there. But I'll warn you, they're a lot more expensive than my holsters, and the quality ain't that great. All right. I'm getting behind here because I'm losing track of the conversations. Walks Fletcher says, lay the leather flat with heavy weights for a week or two. Been thinking about doing that too. I'm down to one hide though, so everything else, so I've cut out of I had two hides when these holsters come out of one. Everything I have cut out of that hide has lined up except that particular style. I don't know what the deal is. So, but yeah, I've got another piece. If I can find a place where I can lay it out flat, I'm going to lay it out. Scott says, I picked up a Pieta Griswold and a Gunnison, Griswold and Gunnison last week, and a third model Dragoon today. Maybe looking for a couple holsters in the near future. Yeah, awesome. So Griswold and Gunnison, I do have the Bohannon, or they all fit any of the 51 Navy holsters. And for the Dragoon, currently I'm offering I've got two styles. I got a guest style that I don't have one made right now, but I got the pattern for. And then I've got this. This is actually a copy. This is my prototype here, so this one doesn't for sale, but this is a copy of from a picture, best as I could replicate from an old historical picture for a Walker holster, and the barrel was sticking out the bottom. On a Dragoon model, which I just happen to have a third model Dragoon airsoft because we have to call it airsoft on YouTube. Dragoons fit it well, and they barely stick out the bottom. So this will fit a Dragoon, but I'm going to have to do a little bit different on the belt loop. I've got one cut out here. I need to do some finishing stitching on it here and get a couple pieces on it, and it'll be ready to go. But yeah, anything. This will fit a Gunnison, Griswold. The half flap will. The Bohannon will fit them, but the Bohannon the barrel sticks out the bottom, and the bad thing with the Bohannon is that it catches when you draw it on the loading lever latch. And, it's not great for a holster, but, it's more of a kind of a, how would I say, costuming piece because it's a Hollywood copy. Oh, let's see. Long Hunter says, do you ever do saddle holsters? Pat Putnam, and I haven't seen him on a chat for a long time. He was wanting a saddle holster for a couple of walkers, and we haven't got anything done. But I've been thinking about trying to do a form of saddle holsters here. The big problem I've got right now is I'm down to one piece of leather, and I've got to order more. The thing of it is I need to order some leather, but I need to get some holsters sold to order it. So I'm saving that one piece of leather for a new holster design that's going to be coming out pretty quick, which is the topic of the title for tonight, and which we're going to get into here in a quick second. But yeah, saddle holsters are something I'm going to do here in the future. So if you got an idea, let me know what you got. 11 Bang Bang. Well, Nick, I was getting my hides from Tandy. Because I was getting them for $45 a piece. And they're the cheap Argentinian imports, which, I've ordered quite a few hides. I've got few complaints on most of them. I had one at some of this batch come in. It had spots on it that I didn't see until I started stitching, because when I'm looking at a hide flat, the way my eyes are, unless it's really standing out, I can't really see the imperfections all that well until I get to where I'm stitching at it, because then I'm looking up here close, and then I start seeing the imperfections in it. In fact, this one right here has got a slight imperfection that I didn't notice, but it's got some cracking, so this one will probably be at a discount price when it gets up there. But my next order is going to be through Springfield Leather out of Missouri, because they've got the exact same thing as what Tandy has, but Tandy's charging $60-some a hide now, and Springfield's got them for $35, and they're the exact same thing. And they're not great for tooling, but on my holsters, when I get done, they're beautiful, as far as I'm concerned, except for some of them that go to crap. Oh, let's see. Ryan Cotter, hi, Duke, sorry I'm late. Don't be sorry. We're glad to have you. Let's see. Wax Fletcher said, just looked at Historical Emporium, and then YouTube blocked this one, which I'm going to go ahead and show it because I agree. Yeah, Historical Emporium is cheap shit. You pay for more than what I usually charge. But yeah, I don't usually make a drop leg. Plus, John Marston's holster was tooled, and I don't offer tooling. Let's see. Zombie Killer says, what powder should I use for a smokeless 45 long Colt for the Birdie 58 8-inch barrel. I'm going to get another one soon, but I like to shoot smokeless loads more than black powder loads. I don't play around too much with smokeless handguns because I've just been reloading black powder for them. I thought about getting into it, but right now powder's kind of hard to find. I did know of a recipe or a load that called for clays. Trail Boss is another good one. If you're using a conversion cylinder, you just want to make sure you keep the velocity under 800 feet per second. Keep the pressure down low. I don't like Trail Boss because Trail Boss, you do not have a whole lot of wiggle room to play with. Clays, you don't have a lot either, but if you look around, especially on Cowboy Action forums, those guys have some pretty decent loads because I think in Cowboy Action, you've got to keep your loads under 800 feet per second anyway. So other than that, if you want to buy ammo, Black Hills 45 Colt, I like it a lot. 45 Schofield, Black Hills 45 Schofield works good too. But as for a particular load, I don't have any data on that. Scott says, okay, it might be interesting to guess. Perfect. Yeah, just send me an email. Next week, I'm going to be cutting into my last piece of hide. Once I run out of leather, orders are going to get put on hold for a while until I can get some new. And depending on how they sell on Etsy, will depend on how fast I get new leather in. Long hunter, do I ever work with alligator hide? No, I don't work with the exotic stuff. It's too damn expensive, and I sit on it for too long. Okay, I'll keep that in mind, Nick, on American Leather. Yeah, because I'm looking for a different outlet from Tandy. The only thing I had with Tandy that I really, really liked is that when I place an order with Tandy, they'd ship it from a store in Colorado Springs. I'd have it here the next day. That was real nice. I order it, as long as I ordered it before noon, it would be at my door noon the next day. I get it within 24 hours. And then they changed who they was shipping with. I don't know what happened, but that shipping company, which I won't mention, lost $500 worth of leather. And I told Tandy to cancel the order, give me my money back. That was the last time I bought it. And then I take that back. That's not the last time I ordered from Tandy. I tried again another month and a half later, and I ordered leather from them, and the same thing happened. It was $300 worth of leather. And they told me that they was going to send it to another store to fulfill. And the next thing I know, I've got $6,000 worth of leather because every damn store in the Western U.S. fulfilled that damn order. I don't remember how many boxes I had to send back, but I had $6,000 worth of leather at my house all within a week. So, yeah. Now, the thing of it is, they only charged me for the one box. If they wouldn't have figured that out, I should have kept the leather. But, yeah, if they'd have figured that out, my credit card would have been in big trouble. Because I don't think I could have sold that many holsters that fast. Garrett Woods. Okay, yeah, you guys talking about the Schofield holster. So let's get to that conversation because I'm not getting there. So we did another poll on the Schofield holsters, and I'm just going to show this for fun. I think that's it. All right, so that should be showing up on the screen here shortly. So we did a poll. I asked y'all how many of y'all be interested in Schofield holsters. Half of you said you didn't own a Schofield, which I can understand that. About a little over a third of you said you would be interested in a holster, and the rest of you said that you'd buy a Schofield just to get a holster. And Northwoods Cowboy and Garrett Woods both, you showed interest in them. So I don't have the mold yet, but I did order a mold. I've got a fake Schofield. I got a plastic Schofield coming in. It's actually a number 3 American, which I think I can make a Schofield holster from that. There's not that much difference. But hopefully next week, I will have a pattern for Schofield holsters. And so, Garrett, I know you commented on there and said you'd like the triple loop design. First thing I'm going to do when I get that in is I'm going to see if that gun will go on this triple loop holster. If it does, I've already got a pattern for it. I got a feeling it's not going to fit very well, though, because the Schofield's got a lot more in the frame area than what the 73 single action has. So I don't know if it's going to fit in this or not. But I'm going to have Schofield patterns here shortly. And I'm going to try to make a Slim Jim California style pattern for them. So we'll have a couple options there. But yeah, I'm going to try. That's why I'm saving my last piece of leather. That's why I didn't want to cut it just yet, because I know there's some of you who's wanting Schofield holsters. I've been wanting to get the patterns done and get them made. So that piece of leather is going to go for those. Like I've got 2 or 3 of you that have been asking me or interested. And if I can get more sales out of them, I'm going to save that last piece of leather for them. So, yeah, I know I'm way behind on the chat here. Boy, you folks are really powering questions to me. But, yeah, we are going to have Schofield holsters here shortly. So, look forward to that. And also, we're going to have I'm going to try to get some more other model styles in. I've already got another one we're going to show here shortly. Another new pattern. Let's see. Let me catch up on the chat here. 11 Bang Bang. What's the prices on those Schofield holsters? They're probably going to be about the same what everything else is going. I think the triple loop I'm selling for about $75. And I'm going to get a nosebleed here. Selling that one for about $75. A Slim Jim California pattern will be about $65. If I do a civilian half flap style, it's going to be just a little bit more. And I got a feeling that this pattern, civilian half flap, is going to fit that Schofield real well. I'm going to have to pause here for a quick minute because I feel a nosebleed coming on. So I'm going to have to go take care of that. I will be right back. Okay, wasn't as serious as I thought it was going to be, but I got the tissue here if I need it. I don't know why my allergies have been up, and I got a spot in my nose that just, for rub it, touch it, it just starts going. So yeah, I did talk about the price. So yeah, 75 on the triple loop, anywhere between 65, 70 on a Slim Jim style. And if you've got a particular pattern in mind, got a picture of it, send it to me. We'll see if I can make something for you. I just don't like dealing with the drop like Buscadero styled. All right. And it jumped on me. I was going to look here. Woo! Alan says, do you recommend Dixie for Captain Ball or do you prefer other companies? Dixie customer service kind of turned me off from that company. I will buy from them. I used to buy from Midway. Midway, what turned me off is Midway sells good stuff at a decent price, but they don't package it worth a crap, and I had to track down a UPS truck to get a gun one day. In fact, it's pocket model, which we're gonna have up here in just a short second. So Dixie, they're pretty good on shipping, and their prices aren't terrible. I've had bad experience with the customer service. That's what's turned me away from them. So for the price, yeah, go with them if you're going to buy something. But just be aware if you get a crappy gun, I don't like their customer service. Let's put it that way. Let's see. Sean Sprinkle. Oh, you're talking about the big Dragoon holster, the military one. Yeah. And I'm going to have to alter that pattern a little bit. But I've got one now cut out. I thought I had two laying around here. They've been cut out for a long time. I just never got to them. I'm going to try to get this one finished. If I can find another one, I'll get it finished. And I'll have a couple that'll go up if I can find that other one. I don't know if I cut it up for another pattern or not. I've been known to do that. But just keep in mind, like I said, I'm down to one piece of leather. I can get about 8 holsters out of a piece of leather. I know I've got 3 people interested in a Schofield. And if I have to adjust that pattern, if things don't turn out, I'm going to have to go through. So I'm going to be limited on what I can make here. But as soon as I get some stuff sold and get some stuff moving, I'll be able to order some more leather. And I like to order them about 5 hides at a time. So 5 times 35 would be about $150. I could probably get that many holsters sold in a couple days. So Northwoods Cowboy, yeah, who was it that was asking about a smokeless load? Northwoods Cowboy's got one there for you. Ryan, am I doing belts for holsters? Not currently. If I ever get enough money to where I can get a sewing machine, yeah, I'll do belts with holsters. But belts, when I'm hand stitching everything, belts just take forever. I've got one belt that I've made for me, and it's taken forever, and I don't currently offer them. But once I get to where I'm selling holsters that I can start thinking about doing it as a full-time gig instead of just as a side gig, or I make enough money to justify a sewing machine, I'll start offering belts. Scott, alligator must be hard to cut. Yeah, I've heard it is. The only thing I've heard it was harder for that to cut is stingray. So y'all probably have heard of or know of Hank Strange. He does some videos for Andrew's Custom Leather. So if you go over and check out his on there, they talk about exotics on one of theirs. And yeah, stingray, I guess, is one of the most expensive, one of the hardest ones to cut because it's almost solid bone. Zombie Killer. Can I post a video shooting the black powder 45 long Colt loads in the Uberti 1858 and show how to clean the gun properly after? I don't have a conversion cylinder for my 58, so I can't do black powder loads in it. But I think I've got a cleaning video on the internet on cleaning them. And it's pretty much the same through all of them, except for on the Colts, you can take the barrel off and clean it back to front like you should. On the Remington, you got to go through the muzzle. So I don't know if I've got a cleaning video on the 73 single action. It would be very similar to the 73 single action. I'd have to check. I don't remember what. It's been so long since I've done a lot of videos. I don't remember what I got. Yeah, zombie, and cleaning at the cause of the corrosion. If you live in a humid environment, it's more of a problem. I live in a drier environment. I've got guns that I haven't cleaned. I left my Pieta 1860 with powder, and I just wanted to see what would happen if I left it sit for a long period of time. I pulled it out the other day, and the powder residue was flaking off the barrel. I didn't see any rust in there. Of course, down the inside, it might be rusted up, but with the traditional black, it's not as bad. Now you start talking about Pyrex, and you got to clean it every time you shoot it. 1 shot or 100 shots, it's got to be cleaned because Pyrex is just so much more corrosive. Oh God, it's terrible. And let's see. J.K. Foster said, I definitely order cross-draw Walker holster from you given the opportunity. So yeah, cross-draw the Gus style. I can sew it cross-draw. That's usually what I do anyway. It'll fit a Dragoon. It'll fit a Walker. Cool Hand, would you make a video of you self-making holsters? Yeah, I got one up there. I got one video of me making a Bohannon holster. I think it's called Making Leather Holsters. It's on the channel. Check it out. I've been thinking about doing another video on them, but I've got one on there. It's a long video, And the chat jumped around on me again. To the Cowboy, wish I could get a Schofield. You and me both. Although I'm really in love with that new number 3 American that Cimarron just offered. I'm not in love with the price, but God, if I could find one for $600-700, I would take it in a heartbeat. Big D, the Jesse James Schofield holster pattern is cool looking. Yeah, that's kind of what I had in mind. That's that California style. So I would definitely like to make one of those. Northwood says my Schofield sort of fits my single action army holster. Yeah, and that's what I kind of had in mind, is it might fit this 3, because if you look at the regulation 1870, not the 74, the 1881 cavalry holster, it is designed to do both the Colt single action army and the Schofield. So that's why I was hoping they'd cross over, but I don't know. I'm going to have to test it when I get this one in. And like I said, the mold that I'm getting is actually a number 3 Smith & Wesson, the one that Cimarron's are offering. But I think it's similar enough. There shouldn't be very much difference in the body of the gun between the Schofield and that one. I should be able to make a holster. Now, if I turn out to be a liar and full of crap, y'all can send the holster back. But I think it will work. I love the looks and the design of a Schofield. I just don't like the price. Nick, where do you get the design ideas for your holsters? Not gun leather. Packing iron. Where'd the book go? Where's my book? There it is. It's over on the stove. I know you're thinking that was a great place to put a book, is on top of the stove, but the stove doesn't work, so I've got the gas shut off for it. So I don't have the dust cover. I found it the other day, but I don't keep them on there because these get tore up. But packing iron, that's where a lot of my designs come from. Some of them are try to be pretty historical accurate. Some of them need a little work to be more historical accurate. This body style comes from this book. In fact, there's one that looks just about like it there, except for it's kind of a weird one. It's got the trigger guard cut, but they've got it to the inside of the body, so that's definitely cavalry style draw on that one. Trying to find that one that I was. There are so many holster styles, it's not even funny. So there is the 2. This is what I based the body of that one off of, is these 2 right here. And I did make a civilian, the half flap version, as we showed earlier, but I'm going to have to work on my flap orientation because I've got it too shallow. It doesn't wrap around real great. I'm going to have to straighten it out just a little bit. I'm way behind on this thing. Okay. Walks Fletcher. Yeah, right there. Okay, I'm going to highlight that. So, Zombie Killer, if you haven't seen this one, there you go. I forgot to mention that Hodgdon's has a wonderful site for loads. Garrett Woods. Oh, damn it. It jumped on me again. Okay. I'm going to type this into the side chat here. My email address. That's how you get in touch with me. Is that email address there that just popped up. That's the best way. Or you can also do it through the Facebook page if you are on Facebook. I'll take an order through there. Don't bother me on Instagram because me and Instagram Messenger do not get along. Okay. Long Hunter, do you do anything for the Lamat? If I can find a mold for the Lamat, I will do one. But I got to find a mold first that isn't going to break my bank. This mold that I ordered was $50, which come out of what I had reserved in the leather budget. But but I thought that would be a good investment, and it was a heck of a lot cheaper than a $1,300 pistol. But yes, long hunter. If I can find a Lamat mold, I will try to make one, but it will be a while. And when if I do offer that one, I will do an update video and let you know. Let's see. Scott says, yeah, I watched Hank. Yeah, so Andrew, when I got into making leather holsters and decided I wanted to make it into kind of a side business, I watched that and I learned a lot in their how-to video where Sam goes through and shows from start to finish of how they did holsters. It's where I learned to burnish the edges and just, how to make a good presentable holster. And so I take the extra time. I burnish the edges. I make it look as nice as I can. Granted, they're not perfect. You're not going to get a 100% perfect holster from me. It just doesn't happen. But you're going to get something that's going to be better quality than what you get at Cabela's. And it's got more love behind it too. I love doing what I do. I love it when a holster turns out good. And I get disappointed when one doesn't turn out, but I do my best to try to make it look as good as I can. Garrett Woods, my brothers and I run the 11 Bang Bang channel. Oh, God, I don't know if I'm subscribed to you guys or not. I'm going to check that out right quick. So let me break away from the chat. I think I subscribed to you guys. I don't remember. Okay, that didn't work. There we go. I take it you're the one with the 371 subscribers, not the other one with just 6. There we go. Yeah. Okay, I'm subscribed now. So how do you enjoy your 49 pocket model? Is it working good for you? And in case you're interested, Garrett, Bings, I mentioned that 49 pocket model when I looked at your channel there. That brings us to our next point. So on the same page in this book, they've got a pocket model holster here that I kind of took interest in. It's a flap holster. So I sat down one day, and I was trying to do a video on this, and I found out that trying to do a video of showing how I start from making patterns clear to the end would turn out to be about a 6-hour video because I kept screwing everything up. But our next available option is a full flap pocket model holster. And this one's designed for the 49 pocket model. Basically, the pocket models that are available on the market now, the Wells Fargo model, the one with the loading lever, one without, the Baby Dragoon, this will fit them. Now, if you got the older style that's got a little longer barrel on them, or the 62, these don't fit the Pocket Navy or the Pocket Police. But these do fit the 49 pocket model. So I've got some pieces coming in, some finials, but they're the old-fashioned style, the rivet style. So I got to make an anvil for them to set in, but I'm going to offer these here fairly shortly. I've got to make a slight design alteration on the flap because it stands a little bit proud here, which that ain't terrible. But I need to add about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch on the back end, if I can do this without pointing this thing at my head, because it don't quite cover the back of the grip there. But being the gun's not in the grip in this picture, or in the holster in this picture, I don't know if it sticks out or not. I assume it does not. But yeah, for those of you that aren't subscribed to Garrett's channel, go over and check it out. Let me see if I can throw a link in here. And I will put this right there. There you go. There's Garrett's channel. So let me get back here to the chat. Zombie Killer, hey Duke, gotta go. Thanks for another wonderful video live stream, and I'll be in contact with you soon. Sounds good. Let's see. Now it jumped around, so I don't know where I'm at. Northwoods Cowboy says that the barrel tapers on the American more. Okay, well, we'll see. I'll make one, and if it doesn't work out, Northwoods, we will figure it out. But if it doesn't fit 100%, I mean, you can always dip in a little water and shove the gun in there and wrap it in saran wrap first, of course, if it's not too terrible tight, but shove the gun in there and it'll stretch out. Let's see. I'm way behind here. Dooley says, need Charlie Prince's holsters from 310 to Yuma for a Schofield pair. Oh, boy. I imagine them were pretty fancy, and I don't get too fancy. And me and tooling just do not get along, and I think half of it is I use the cheaper leather. Just because, God, go to buy that Herman Oak stuff, and I mean, it almost doubles the price. The way I've got it set up now is I can I can sell a holster and just about buy one piece of leather. Which works out good because that allows me to have enough budget to buy things and then buy other parts as I need it. But if I start going to Herman Oak, I don't know, I might have to up my prices a little bit. But if I do that, I'm going to have to up my quality, which I've never heard complaints about my quality. But, you know, every craftsman can tell you what's wrong with everything he makes. Skygram, yeah, Hank could, he could definitely read a phone book and make it sound good. Nick, look at Bunkhouse Deals. Yeah, that's who I ordered that one from on their Etsy page. That's who I got mine from. So I've been checking them out. I think I'm going to order a 1911 mold from them here pretty quick. I've got a 1911 holster, but the thing of it is it was custom order. For the guy, he said he wanted a 1911. I said I can make a Mexican loop style, and he said okay. And but he needed it for the full size. The only 1911 I had access to was one of those Commanders from Rock Island, which is a shorter barrel. So I measured off the difference on them and put it together, and it's a nice looking holster. But then the guy told me he didn't want the Mexican loop, so I made another one for him that didn't have the Mexican loop, and then he never got in contact with me again. I don't know if my email screwed up because I was having problems with it at that time. I wound up giving that one away too to somebody else. But I need to get a 1911 mold so I can make sure that one's going to fit right. Let's see. Garrett Woods, spring is weak. Yeah, that seems to be the common problem. They get blowbacks like you wouldn't believe. And it's not cap sucking. It's blowing them back under the hammer. So that spring needs to be addressed. Uberti needs to address that. Northwoods Cowboy. The 51 holster I got was better than holsters twice as much. It's great value. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Did you order one of the ones I had on eBay, or did you? I apologize if I don't remember, but my memory is when I spend most of my time reading books, it's like my memory on interactions with people goes to crap. Sometimes I recognize names, but and it jumped around on me. Yeah, 49. Yeah, that's about how my 49 is. What's funny is I got a walker that sucks caps like you wouldn't believe, but that the mainspring on it is so damn stout, and that hammer is just so heavy. When it gets a cap jam in there, it just smashes that cap into a flat piece of nothing and just keeps running. I mean, the only time I had a cap jam stop it is when the cap got between the bolt and the hammer, and it wouldn't let it rotate. That's the only time I've had a cap jam disable that walker. Otherwise, that walker just chews right through them. My newer walker that I got, that one not so much, but that first walker I ever bought, that thing does not cap jam easily. Sucks caps like they're going out of style, but Casey's stop. So you're going down the rabbit hole of leather work. Well, it's going to be fun. I do my own leather work too. I've been doing it for a couple of years now. Everybody keeps telling me my stuff keeps getting better and better, so I must be improving. But it's something I definitely take a lot of pride in. I enjoy doing. I just wish I had. I wish I had enough orders that I could do it full time. I'd like to get into saddle making. I thought about trying to make some saddle bags. Unfortunately, I just don't have the leather just to play around with that stuff. I'm kind of at that point where I just gotta order enough leather to keep the holster business going. One day I'd love to have a little shop and have a sewing machine and clicker. Hell, if I could get a clicker die, my life would get so much easier because my fingers get so worn out from cutting. I don't know, you guys that make holsters that are watching. I don't know how you would go about cutting, but I use this tool right here for cutting, just a plain old X-Acto knife. And I tell you what, after you cut out 5 or 6 of them, when I hold it like that, I can't bend this finger. My hands get so stiff and so wore out from just cutting. That's my least favorite job, is cutting out a holster. Let's see, I am behind here a little bit. Big D. Check out the Herman Oak Craftsman side from SLC. 24 square feet. I was able to make about 30 holsters out of the last side. I bought $180. Yeah, and let's see. I looked into that. The big thing that turns me away from getting a full half side is the space to cut it out. I don't have a lot of space in my shop. My table I'm on now, if I clean everything off, which don't last very long, I get them cleaned out, cut out holsters, and the next thing I know, everything's on the table again. But I can somewhat comfortably cut out a holster from a double shoulder. My grandmother's table, I cut out the other day because my junk was up here, so I went over to her house, but she's got a bigger table. I went over there, and I had plenty of room to work on that, but I don't know if I could get a full half side on that table either. I've got a half side of split leather that I ordered. I thought I was ordering just 4-ounce veg tan. It was split, so I can't use it for much anything for what I make. But that's one of the things that turned me away from buying them by the half side is just the amount of space they take up. But yeah, I'm looking into going into Herman Oak. It's just right now with the amount of orders I got, it's basically a profit. How long am I going to be sitting on that investment before I get a return on it? But I am, like I said, definitely looking into going with that higher quality stuff. Okay, good. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it. I imagine that's that one that I had is kind of a copy of the Hickok style. I was going to cut some more of them out, but that little lip that comes up there around the trigger guard, I didn't like that after I'd made it. So I'm going to redesign that and put just a little bit more meat in that part of that holster, which that ain't going to be hard to do. The wonderful thing about when you get a pattern that works, when you start making some of these old historic holsters, once you get one pattern, you've got all the patterns. You just got to make slight modifications to them. Don't touch me, I'm crazy. Had an interesting conversation at Cabela's today about the viability of modern lever action chambered and for 45 LC. Any thoughts? Depends on the use you're talking about. If you're talking about for hunting, I wouldn't want to go with a 73 or a 66 because the modern hunting loads are a little too stout for that toggle link action. But I mean, Rossi makes a pretty decent 92 copy, 92 model copy. And really, 45 LC with some of those modern hunting loads, there's not much difference between them and a 44 mag. So if you go with that 92 model, that Rossi model, the copy of the Winchester 92, yeah, that could be a great option, especially if you're hunting in wooded areas, close up. I assume that you're thinking about for hunting. Maybe you're thinking about for self-defense. Either way. wouldn't be my top choice, but definitely an option for those. I don't know how that would compare to a 30-30 or something like that. I know on firepower and means of amount of ammo it would carry, yeah, it would exceed a 30-30, but I know a friend of mine had a 44 mag, Trapper model 94, Winchester 94 and 44 mag, and he hunted with that quite a bit. So I think it just meets the minimum requirements. But like I said, there's some 45 Colt loads out there that'll match a 44 Magnum. Casey Scott cutting sucks. Yeah, it's my least favorite. And the thing of it is one thing I have a really terrible habit with when I'm working with this knife is I don't go and strop it. And so it'll start getting dull and I start dragging, and that's what makes my hands so damn sore. And then the next thing you know, I'm dragging and I go outside my line and screw something up. I haven't done that for a while, but it's coming. But I was trying to cut some leather the other day and I made my cut and I noticed that I wasn't cutting straight. Even though I had a knife straight up and down, it was zigzagging back and forth. And I wasn't getting a straight cut. So I finally sat down with some 1000 grit, because I was out of the blades at the hardware store. So I sat down with some 1000 grit sandpaper and just sit there and move that back and forth. And then I run on the strop. And now this dadgum thing, I can make hair thick cuts on leather. I mean, it just shaves it. So I'm back in shape on a good cutting knife. But this morning I was able to get some more blades. So the only thing I got, the reason I love using this is because I can cut those tight inward cuts. I don't have to use a hole punch. I hate using a hole punch for that. Even though that's probably the best way to do it. But with this, I can get that tip up there and I can make those tight cuts. The only problem is I break the tips of them off quite a bit doing that. Scott Grumpy, ever tried one of those round knives? I actually made a round knife. So I had an old saw blade I got from when I was working up on the ranch, and boss had just got a plasma cutter, and that was one of the first things I did when I had some time off. Is I took that plasma cutter and had this old saw blade, and I went and cut out a round knife out of it, got it sharpened, got it heat treated, and I went to cut my leather, and I could not control that SOB. I mean, it cut leather good, it cut really good, but I couldn't control it. And for the price of what they pay for a round, you pay for a round knife online. My nose is bleeding again. I'm going to turn the camera off here, but I'm still going to talk. I keep rubbing my nose because it's itching. Price you pay for a round knife and as little uses I'd probably get out of it. I just don't mess with them. If I had more time to practice with one, I might start using it, but I just don't mess with it. Casey Scott, the split leather makes good liners. The only thing I got against that is it's so rough, especially on these guns with bluing. Afraid it would really wear the bluing off. I could be full of crap on that, but I just recently started doing lining on holsters with this spotted one I was showing earlier. That was the first one I lined, and I used the German brain tan when I did that. And that crap, I put the glue on that, and that crap sucked that contact cement up in it, and it would not stick to the holster body. I had a hell of a time. I had to lay it out on a flat piece of glass that I had, and then I had to set as much weight on it as I could, and I had to let it sit overnight, and it finally stuck, but it did not stick good. It was not a good contact. Boy, that nose really got to go on that time. So sorry I got the camera off, guys, but I'll save you from having to look at blood running down my face. I don't know what the heck is up with my nose. Let me know when I'm ready for saddlebags to help you out. Yeah, I've got a pattern, and I've got one piece of leather that I've got some saddlebags lined out on. So I got another half piece of double shoulder in the back that's got the saddlebags on. It's just that I haven't had time to do it. But one of them I was wanting to play with was a horn style bag. It had the holster in it that's on. It's they got them in the packing iron, but yeah, they've got a holster built into the saddle bag, the horn bag. So I was thinking about making one of them. Wouldn't be too terrible to make, I would think. Big D says splits are good for muzzleloader lead ball bags. Yeah, the only thing I got on this split leather is stiffer than stiff. I mean, it is. It's almost like a bridle leather. I mean, it is hard. It's not soft at all. I might try doing something with it earlier, but I tried stitching it. The stitches, even if you put a stitch groove, the stitches still stand out proud. I don't know. I just was not enjoying working with it. Kevin Collar signed in here. Good evening, folks. If I show, tell you what, Kevin, I'll show the holsters here in a minute, but I'm dealing with a nosebleed right now. So as soon as I get this stopped up and get it kind of quit, it's just that time of the year where my nose is not cooperating with me very well. I get them every spring. And I imagine I'm going to have to go wash my face here pretty quick. That's the one downside to having a mustache is everything gets caught up in it. Give me a little bit, Kevin, and I will gladly show the holsters again. So it looks like I finally kind of got caught up here. Yeah, hydraulic leak. I like that one. I'll have to remember that. Yeah, it's been bugging me for about a week. And I think it's just the weather, but I've had nosebleeds like this since I was a little kid. And it's just, the dust and allergies get to aggravating, and you get to rubbing your nose because your nose itches. And then the next thing you know, it's just leaking everywhere. And it didn't help the other night. The dog, my older dog, was wanting to snuggle up, and she's got a bad habit of when she's getting to snuggle, she just kind of just runs her paws like she's swimming. And she got her claw up in there, and she hit that. I just got it to where it hadn't bled for a few days, and she hit that. And ever since, it's just wanted to keep going. So sorry for those of you folks that didn't want to know about my nosebleed issues, but it's just one of them things. Like I said, I deal with it every year. Somebody told me the other day it's because I have hypertension or something. It could be a underlying sign, but I was like, no, it's just something I've dealt with for a long time. God, I remember when I was a kid in grade school, I don't know how many times I had to get sent home because when I was in grade school, they was a lot worse than they are now as an adult. But I sat one day for 3 hours in a nurse's office waiting for that thing to quit leaking. And they finally told me just to go home. And then one time I had to go in and have my nose cauterized. And you want to talk about a traumatizing experience for a 10-year-old. KC Scott, I like the industrial knife from Springfield leather, wood handle, and replaceable blades. You do need to keep it stropped, though. Yeah, that's one thing I'm bad about on my cutting blades is I don't strop them enough. I've got the stropping strop, but I just don't do it enough. All right, so I'm going to take a quick second. I'm going to go wash my face. I got this thing kind of stopped now, and I'll be right back. Okay, wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Actually, I hadn't got too much of my mustache, but I got it all out, I think. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, I think I did. So anyway, the one they, Scott, when they carterized my nose, they used that silver nitrate. It was a chemical carterization, but it still wasn't pleasant. So Kevin, you was wanting to see the holsters. So I'll just kind of show everything I've got in stock right now and what I'm working on. So this is my finish. This is my personal one. What I've got right now that offer, this is for a 51 Navy, 60 Army, 61 Navy, anything that's based off of 51, so the Gunston Griswolds. It'll fit in this holster. I do believe this one will also fit the conversion guns. It's a little tight with the loading lever, but it'll fit a conversion. I made another one the other day, and I tried to get a conversion in there, and it didn't want to go for whatever reason. But the ones I currently got, I tried to shorten the flap up on them because I got to looking, and in the books, the flaps are a little shorter than what I offer. And I think I shortened them up a little too much. So these ones, this is one of the ones that's going to go online here shortly, but I shortened that strap up. I think I kind of screwed it up. Let me put a gun in there, put an airsoft in there. It's kind of hard to get it going in, but once it's in there, it holds. But I should have left on about another inch and a half. But I got two of these that'll go up on Etsy here as soon as I get everything done and get everything organized. Let's see. So this is one that's going to go up for anybody that's left-handed. This is for the 73 single action. Will also fit a 75 Remington. I did test that on another holster. But this one's going to go up on a discount price. This was actually custom ordered by Jake Rewa. But when I set my maker's mark, it bounced on me. And so the maker's mark's a little bit off. So I'm going to dock $5 off of this one when it goes up. So instead of 75, it should be 70 if I don't forget. I got another pattern which I need to redesign. This is another one. I'm going to sell this one too. This was kind of a play one. This one will go for like $50. And the big problem with this one is when the gun goes in, when you go to draw it out, it pulls it out here. I've got too much gap in here, and I did not test that before I cut out two. So I got another pattern that's going to go up. I'll also discount that one as well, but that one I'll probably put in the $60 range because I didn't have all this fancy practice on there. But that's where I was practicing setting spots and doing some basket weave tooling, which the basket weave on this one isn't terrible, but I'm not very good at tooling. I can do a basic border stamp, which that one's got border stamp all the way around. I was just playing around with this, and I didn't really care for it after I got done with it. But if you're interested in that one, like I said, the only downside is when you put a gun in here, when you go to draw it out, it will draw the whole thing. If I'd have known that, what I would have done before I stitched it is I would have punched two holes in here and put a leather loop around to tie it to this so it wouldn't do that. And I may do that with the other pattern before I stitch it up. In fact, I'll make a point to do that. But if you're interested in this will fit a 4 3/4 very well. 5 1/2 will fit in there as well. I think this is made for a 5 1/2, if I remember right. Of course, then we got the regular. This I already showed the one that I got that's going to go for sale, but this is what they look like when they get done. This is the dark brown version. Can dye them black, can dye them russet, can just put neat's foot oil on it. This one's actually a copy from a photograph. The only difference between that one and the one in the photographs, the one in the photograph had fringe down here. It's a decoration. I've left that off. If you want that, I can add it. I won't charge you too much for that, a little extra. Let's see. I've got this model here, which the ones with spots, I'm not going to make that a regular offer just yet because I don't have much spots left, and I'm still learning how to do that. And the other thing with the spots is it's got to be lined, otherwise them spots are going to wear the finish off your gun. But that is another option. I got a couple of them, and I was discussing earlier tonight. I'm having a little bit of trouble with them. This one turned out perfect first time. These are kind of getting all screwy. But I'll offer these. These will be, if I can get them to where they don't look too terrible, they'll go for regular price, which I think is $65 is what I said. This one was just so beautiful. I can't turn this one loose. That's the problem with all my holsters is I never keep anything that looks decent. I always keep the junky looking one. So when somebody wants to order from me in person, which doesn't happen a lot, but there are people that do approach me and ask me, all I got to show them is junky ones and nobody wants to buy them because I sell all the good ones. So I'm keeping this one. I'm keeping this one. Those are going to be my personal holsters. But this one's supposed to be, and I showed this one earlier, supposed to be just like that one I just showed that I said I was keeping. I put a little extra bling down here, but this one was really screwy when I got it. It was so warped. I got it straightened out, but the stitch lines, when I was trimming it, it about cut into the stitch lines. This just did not turn out to be a decent holster. It may look good when I get done with it. I might be able to fix it up some, but I don't have high hopes. But if it does turn out fairly decent, I'm going to put this on eBay for auction. Like I said, it'll run for about 120, what the auction will start at, just because of the lining and the spots. If I can't get it looking decent, I might just sell it for like 60 or something. But I hate to do that because putting the lining in there, setting those spots, takes a lot of extra time. And the other thing, when you order holsters, I do have a couple options for belt loops. So this is one style and I've started riveting. That's the other thing is if I rivet it, I probably will line it. I've got one here with a rivet that won't be lined. This one's got a rivet here. This one also has two rivets underneath the flap to also hold it there so it doesn't come off. So that's one option for a belt loop. And I don't know if I'll rivet all of them. Like I said, the rivets probably should be lined. This is the other style I offer. I like this style better for sewing purposes because I can sew it all at once in one setting. Those others take a little bit of extra, but if you're ordering a holster for a walker, I wouldn't recommend this one because I've had people tell me that this style will tear out very easily with a walker, with the weight of a walker. And once a belt loop tears off, it's very difficult to fix it unless you cut the holster in half and start over. I've got this one I've been playing with. So this would be just for a regular straight up and down draw. This one is riveted, but this holster will not be lined because I don't have much leather left for lining. Let's see. I think that's the ones I've got for belt loops. For the pocket model ones, it's a smaller. I just usually do a straight up belt loop. For this particular one, I put a cross draw loop on it. Just because I happen to have this one handy. And I wasn't planning on putting it on a holster, so I put it on this prototype. This is another one I'm offering. It's a 49 pocket model. And I've got one more 49 pocket model holster, which this one is currently holding my 62 pocket police because I got an older Uberti one that has a little bit shorter barrel on it. And it fits real well. This is the other 49 pocket model holster I've got, and this is the belt loop on that. So this is just for a straight up and down. So hopefully, Kevin, that shows you kind of what I got for offer right now. I've got more holster designs. I've got a double loop design for 5.5 and 4 3/4 inch. I don't have a double loop for a 7.5 yet. Wouldn't be too hard to make one. Got the Bohannon style. I don't have one of those handy. And then the Walker Dragoon full flap. And then I've got a Gus style for that as well. Okay, Casey Scott says, damn good looking work, brother. Been toying with other work off and on for a few years. I'm two sewing machines deep now. What do you use for sewing machines? I've been thinking about a sewing machine, but what I really want is a Landis, the old Landis. I've seen them work, and when a Landis is used properly, it's hard to tell the difference between it and hand stitching. The big issue I've got with the modern sewing machines is that the presentation side looks beautiful. The back side looks kind of crappy, in my opinion. But it could be just the sewing machines I was looking at the time. The ones that Tandy carry, I'm not fond of. And I had somebody tell me that they had bought one of those cobbler machines as a cheap alternative, and they didn't like how it worked. One time, me and a buddy, he bought a cheap cobbler machine off of Amazon. It's one of those hand crank ones, and it wouldn't go through the 9-ounce leather because he was making some pancake style holsters. So we had the bright idea to modify it and hook it up to a hydraulic motor. And I'm not talking like a little hydraulic motor. I'm talking, one that runs off of gasoline for running hydraulic cattle chutes. And we hooked that thing up to a hydraulic motor for like what you put on a grain auger. And we got that thing connected, and we turned that SOB on. And I tell you what, we should have had flak jackets on because that machine come flying apart. Holy crap, that machine come flying apart. But, yeah, if I could find a Landis that was in working condition, I'd pay out the butt for it. But, God, I'd love to have one, even if it was just hand crank power. That Sam Andrews was talking about, in his video, he has a Landis, but his is hooked up with electric, which, it's going to be a big dent in the budget. But, man, that would be worth it to have a Landis. The other downside to a Landis is I think they stand about 7 foot tall, so I'd have to find a shop to put it in. Jay Wheeler, always enjoy your videos. We greatly appreciate that. Casey Scott, I have a leather machine company class 4 and a class 26. Nice. They how do they look on the backside on the stitching? Is it any different from what it looks on the front? Like I said, that's the one thing that's turned me away from the modern sewing machines is that the presentation side looks good, but the backside doesn't. And I like mine to look just as good on the front as they do on the back. So that's a nice thing about hand stitching is it looks just as good when everything lines up. Now, sometimes my punch, because I punch all my holes at once, and sometimes the holes don't line up or I get an extra hole somewhere. So sometimes on my holsters, you'll see that I skip a thread, and that just proves that it's hand stitched. I had a guy tell me that he was upset because I advertised it as hand stitched, but it was stitched on a machine. I'm like, no, it's not stitched on a machine. It's hand stitched. Nick says, I'm looking at a Cobra 4 and a Cobra 3. You're the second person that's told me that Cobras make a decent machine. But like I said, I just don't sell enough holsters to justify buying a machine yet. And I'm sure a lot of you probably order a belt if I offered that. But I don't make belts because I don't have a machine. And a sewing machine just for belts, I wouldn't get too picky on because you only got the presentation side to look at. But on a holster, I like them, like I said, to look good on both sides. All right. Man, we've been going for almost 2 hours now. We've been having good chat tonight. I don't know how many of you are watching. It says there's about 20 of you. I wanted to add something before I forget. All right. So Friday night, Living History Comes Alive channel invited me to do a chat with them. They're going to interview me on that. So for those of you that are watching, if you want to see me on that on Living History Comes Alive, head over and check out. It's Living History Comes Alive channel on YouTube. And we're going to be chatting on Friday evening. So I don't know what all is going to go down, but, being as I'm a living history guy, and that's why I like doing historical holsters, we'll probably be talking quite a bit on history. Yeah, be sure to check that out. So head on over and check out Drew's channel on there, Living History Comes Alive. Let me find his channel and I will. Oh, crap. Randy Newberg was doing his Elk Talk Live tonight. Crap, I was going to watch that. Well, I guess I'll have to go back and watch it again. Sorry, I got distracted there. Whoops, that's not the one I wanted. That's the one I wanted. So I'll put a link here to Drew's channel. Go over and check it out. He's got some good stuff. Does a lot of live streams. I really enjoy going to his trivia nights. I think he does trivia Monday, Wednesday nights. He has a coffee show Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings, and then Friday evenings, I believe he does interviews with folks, which I'll be on there Friday evening. And Nick says 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern time. So, yeah, that'll be, 7 p.m. Eastern. That'll be 9 o'clock, or no, be 5 o'clock my time. 5 o'clock my time, which is Mountain Time. Casey Scott, Leather Machine Company is Cobra, FYI, great machines. Okay, I know what you're talking about then. Let's see. Nick, do I do cartridge boxes? Not yet. Working on it. I've been wanting a pistol cartridge box. So I mentioned this in the last live stream. I let the cat out of the bag. I usually don't like mentioning where I work at, just because, I don't want people coming in and taking me away from my job to talk about the channel and stuff, which, I enjoy talking with people that watch my channel. I really do. But when I'm at my job, I'm not there, being as I work for the public, I'm not there to just talk about me. I'm there to talk about the site and be there for all visitors. But I let the cat out of the bag, so I'm going to be working at Fort Laramie National Historic Site this summer. As far as I know, they still want me. And there, I'm going to be doing living history for a good portion of it. I think I'll be in green and gray 1 or 2 days out of the week. But I bangs at that area where I'd worked at before, which was Bensall Fort National Historic Site, which is not too far from my hometown. At that site, I was limited in what we could portray. We just pretty much portrayed 1846. So I was kind of limited in what I had for options for leather accoutrements and stuff regarding pistol boxes and stuff. But being as I'm going to be going up to Fort Laramie, that's got a much wider spectrum. And they kind of don't like to focus on 1 year like I used to. They like to focus on everything. So I'm going to try to stick in the 1850s and 60s era. But yeah, I've been going to make a cartridge box for me just to have on my belt. And I thought I might offer them as an option here in the near future. And I got a friend that is going to or has sent one to me for a pattern that he had bought years ago. So I will definitely let you know if I wind up offering that as an option. But yeah, it'd be a pistol cartridge box is what I'll be offering. One of these days I might get into doing rifle cartridge boxes. But let's see. Jay Wheeler, do you make your own patterns or what? I do leather work and have a mixture of my own and other holsters. For the most part, I do make my own patterns. So when I got started in the leather work, I was doing it just for me because I wanted to make a holster for every gun I had. So I bought, a double shoulder, and then I started making holsters. And then I thought, I might just start offering them for sale. And that's kind of what got me started. But the first patterns I had, I actually bought as kits online, and that company is no longer making those kits. But I got a hold of a buddy of mine and sent me a pattern for a Mexican double loop for a 4 3/4 inch gun. And then I took that pattern and I altered it, and I turned it into the Bohannon holster. And I used that pattern to alter it. I wound up altering that pattern for the triple loop that I got. And then then I learned how to start making my own patterns for like the Slim Jim, the California styles. And once you kind of figure out how to start making a pattern, it's not difficult. Actually, making a pattern is not hard. It's getting a pattern to fit perfect. And doing it on paper and doing it in leather don't always equate out. I don't know how many holsters I've got that are in the junk pile because, you know, when I made the paper pattern, yeah, it looked like it fit and everything. And then you make it out of leather and find out, no, you've got a spot here that's too tight. There's not enough room. Gun won't go in. In fact, I've got one sitting up in the window here. So this was a pattern that I was trying to come up with for the 7.5 inch. I'm going to take this down for a second here. I was coming up with this for the 7.5 inch single action Army and Casey Scott. Holy crap, Casey. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. He says, go buy some damn leather. I will. Thank you. God, we greatly appreciate that. Greatly appreciate the chat there, or the super chat. I will definitely put that to leather. The only thing is on those super chats is YouTube pays them out whenever they feel like, but when I get it, I will definitely use it for leather. I promise you that. So where was I? Anyway, yeah. So this pattern looked real good on paper. And I went to put the, where'd the 73 go? Oh, it's over here. So I went to put the 73 in it, and gets about that far in and it don't go no more. Because down here I didn't give it enough room for the ejector rod. And I think this, whoops, hit the mouse, now I'm screwing everything else up. Fits real good on a 1860 Army, except the barrel sticks out the end. And then you can't get it out. And I'm pretty sure the Navy on this one sticks out too. Yeah. So this holster didn't turn out with that crap. And I haven't revisited this pattern since. But it's on the list. But yeah, this was one that I was trying to make a new pattern for, and didn't turn out. But if you'd be interested in this style pattern, I can make something work with that. We can figure it out. But it was supposed to be excuse me. Getting heartburn tonight. Supposed to be a copy that was out of the book here. I don't remember which one in particular, but it didn't turn out so good. So yeah, sometimes my patterns don't turn out worth a crap. I'm gonna throw this over in the junk pile. Casey, thank you again. We greatly appreciate it. Every little bit helps. Oh, Casey Scott. Okay, Union Lock Stitch, Campbell and Randall, is a new manufacturer Landis style harness stitcher. It's a needle and awl machine just like the Landis. Okay, Casey, if you've got my email there, or if you can post a link on that, I will definitely check that out. Because that is what I would want to have, is something that's like a Landis. Okay, I got to catch up here. So, Jay Wither. So, yeah, that was a question on the patterns. Yeah, so that's what I do. Most of my patterns I make on my own, or modify from that first one that I got. Anything it's a Mexican loop is modified off of the one that I got from my friend Buckskin Billy is his tag, and I greatly appreciate that from him. It's kind of one of those things, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, but teach a man a fish, and he's fed for the rest of his life. Give a man a pattern, and he's good for the rest of his life. I need to send him a holster for that. I might just do that here. I've got his address still. Sean says, I'd be interested in a pistol cartridge box when it comes out. Okay, I'll see what I can do. I did order finials, so I might be able to do one of them. If I can get them to turn out right, I'll order more. Those finials are a little bit spendy. God, they're about $4 a piece. And the one I got on this model, I actually Frankensteined a piece of junk holster my uncle had bought from Dixie Gun Works that was falling apart on us. And they had a finial on there, but it was a screw base. So I said, to heck with it. I don't use that holster. I'm going to take it off of it. I'm going to put it on this one to see how this pattern will turn out. And this one turned out pretty nice, if you ask me. I just, like I said, I got to make a slight modification. So, Nick, yeah, I'll probably need that holster. I threw it over in the junk pile. The dogs will probably, if I didn't get into the box, I'll go pick it up before the night's over. Otherwise, the dogs will get a hold of it and it'll really mangle it. So one thing about having dogs, you got to teach them to leave your holsters alone. I had a holster made for a guy, and I was just about ready to finish it. I had it sitting on the edge of the table, and my youngest dog was a puppy at the time. So she was chewing on everything, and she was tall enough that she could just stick her nose up, just grabbed it right off the edge of that table. She grabbed it, she went and chewed it up, so I had to make another holster for the guy. But my dogs are old enough now, they know not to chew on things in the house. I pretty much got them. They chew on stuff. If they find something outside, they'll chew on everything. Chew on garden hoses. They chew on, like I said, they chew on everything. But I've gotten where in the house, the only thing they chew on is I got a couple chunks of deer antler for them to chew on. But I had to get after them because I told a little fib there. They still chew on some things now, so they think they can get away with it. I had some bear claws that I had gotten from a guy, and they were old, dried out. I mean, it's come off a bear hide that had been tanned way back in the 60s, and the hair had fallen off, and he was going to throw it away, and I asked him if the claws are still on it, and he said, yeah, there's a few. So I took the claws, and I was going to use them for a project, and daggum dogs found the daggum claws. Well, I managed to get 2 of them away. I had 4. Got 2 of them away from the dogs, and they chewed up the other 2 so bad that I can't use them. But I still got 2 of them. One of these days when I get to bear hunting and I go out and shoot a bear, if he ain't got a good hide on him, I'll take the claws and I'll have some more for projects. But let's see here. Kevin Collier. That double loop you just tossed in the junk pile might work for a Heritage Rough Rider 22. Yeah, it might. And you know what? My dad's got one of them, but it's the shorter 4 3/4 inch barrel. But I'll test that and see if it probably would fit. I mean, like I said, it fits the 1860 Army pretty nice. So that I'll have to test that and see. I think I did modify that pattern to work, and then I never made anything out of it. Now that I think about it, I think I've got the modified pattern laying around here somewhere. I'll have to go double check and look. Nick says, I have a few ideas for one, Duke, so when I have you on Facebook, we can put our heads together. Sounds good. Yeah, let me know what you got in mind. Casey Scott, I found your channel about 2 years ago. Good info on slicking up actions on pistols and good info on the Walker. Yeah, I appreciate that. I try to share the knowledge as best I can. So I think knowledge is probably the greatest thing that you can have with these. And one thing I try to make a point of, when it comes to the historical aspect of guns and everything, is I try to buy as many books or spend as much money on books as I do on these reproduction guns. And being I haven't spent much money on the reproduction guns here lately, I haven't bought too much in books, but books are very important when it comes to knowing the history of them, because there's a lot of crap that goes out on there and on the internet, and it may be accurate, may be partially accurate, that may be complete crap. But when you start reading the first-hand accounts in the books, they can give you a lot of info. And on the Walker too, everybody will tell you that the Walker revolver, the Army load was 60 grains of black powder. You go in and you look in the book, Sam Colt's own words, 1847. There's a letter he writes in there to the Army, and he states that the Walker is not to be loaded with more than 50 grains of powder. The reason why they were able to cram 60 in there is because it was designed so that it could use the exact same powder charge for both the round ball and the newly introduced conical bullet, which they call the picket conical. or what's known now as a picket conical. So in order for them to be able to load both bullets with the same amount of powder, they had to extend the length of the cylinder to accommodate for that longer bullet with the same powder charge. What that allowed them to do is cram 10 more grains of powder behind the round ball because you got that extra space there. And, that's part of the reason why the Walkers were notorious for exploding, as they were overcharged. And if you read around in history back in the day, military was known for overcharging guns. Cannons were something that if you bought surplus, you didn't ever want to load them hot because they would explode because they were overcharged so much. And you might get away with overcharging a gun a dozen times, but what's happening is there's minor fractures that are starting to cure in the metal. And eventually it just gets to the point where it can't hold together and it just turns loose. If you look at some historical accounts, especially down at Bent's Fort, there's one account where there's some folks come into the fort and they talk about seeing a cannon that was shattered to pieces laying in the middle of the plaza. Well, that was a surplus cannon the Army had overloaded. And on the plains, everybody overloaded the cannons out there too and couldn't handle it and they popped. And, that's, like I said, big portion of what happened to the Walkers is they were overloaded. And that's why when they went to the Dragoon models, they cut that cylinder back so they could not exceed 50 grains of powder, no matter how you loaded it, with a round ball or conical. Hey, Wes Covina's in the house, I see. That's one thing you learn from reading them is that, the Walker was not designed for 60 grains. It was designed for 50. It's just that happenstance, somebody figured out they could cram 60 in there. And even on the modern ones, even though they're modern steel and they're probably not going to blow up on you with 60 grains of black powder, what you're going to do is you're going to damage that barrel because the force of that bullet hitting that barrel is pushing it away from the gun. And what you see is that around the wedge, it starts to peen out that wedge slot. And eventually if you do it over a long period of time, you'll stretch it out to where that gap between the barrel and the cylinder gets to be quite a bit bigger than what would be considered safe. Oh, good Lord. I don't know what I ate tonight for supper. I don't remember what I had, but it's giving me heartburn. Let's see. I got to catch up here. Kevin Collier signing off. Good night, Kevin. If you're still there. Scott, when I bought my Walker, that's when I found your channel also. Good. Hopefully you got some good info on it. Nick says, I'm not mistaken, Packing Iron Book has some pics of cartridge boxes. Yeah, they do. Not very many. They're kind of limited on what they got. And really, there's not a lot of differentiation on cartridge boxes. They're all pretty much very similar for their own respective classes. Let me look in here. Let's see. There's a Schofield holster. There's the 73. There's the one that's for both, which is the 1881 regulation holster was made for both Schofield and the 73 single action. And they've got a pattern on here to make one, and eventually one of these days I am going to make it. I just haven't done it yet. I'd love to get the U.S. stamp. The last place I looked, it's a big stamp, and you almost need a clicker press to stamp it. It's such a big stamp. There's the cartridge boxes. All right, so yeah, they've got some the ones in here. This is the kind of the Civil War era cartridge boxes. We've got a cap pouch. They've got a pistol box. So, they've got some pictures on it. They just don't give much for dimensions. And that's the thing that I haven't made a pistol box yet is because of the dimension aspect. I don't have the dimensions on them. Otherwise, I could probably turn one out. Trying to look here. This is another one I thought about making as a 4570 bullet rack. What do they call this? Cartridge carrier for carbine ammunition. Made in California. It's a 74 model pattern. But yeah, I thought about making one of them. So it looks like it holds one. Let's see. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. It holds 20 cartridges. So I thought about making one of them, but like I said, right now I'm a little short on leather, so playing around is not an option I've really had much. Jay Wheeler, my favorite Captain Ball pistol. It's a toss-up between the Patterson, the 51 Navy, and the Walker. Yeah, the Walker is definitely a beast. If I had to pick out of the three, I'd take the Navy, the 51 Navy. And I like the 60 Army. It's just, you know, I'm not real fond of the grip on it. I mean, it's not comfortable. It just, I don't know what it is. It's not as aesthetic. But the 51 Navy, 61 Navy is very beautiful as well. I like the Whitneyville Dragoon that Uberti offers. It's a cross between the Walker and the Dragoon, just because of the Dragoon series, including the Walker. I really love the Walker grip. I really do. The third model Dragoon, or the later model Dragoon, so first, second, and third model, I'm not fond of the grip on them. Not as much as I am the Walker. But with the Walker, I can get a much firmer grip. It just seems like the Dragoon grips are too much oversized. Yeah, I definitely take a 51 Navy. And speaking of 51 Navy, so this is what I've been doing today. I took a break from doing holsters. My Uberti 1851, which this one here that I've been using for my holsters, this is actually my 61 Navy. But I swapped and I put the 51 Navy barrel on it. Because I had stripped the grips on the 51 frame because I was trying to see if I could get more of the historical looking dark walnut look. Well, when I stripped the grips down, I didn't get all the red dye out of it, and I was going to have to sand it, and it was already not lining up with the frame. And I was just afraid if I sanded it, it wouldn't match up at all. And I got to looking, and another book I recommend is 1851 Navies by Swayze. And I was looking in there, and they showed the different grip profiles of how they changed from the early 51 Navies, where they're very slim, to the London model style, to the very much thicker towards the end of the 51 run. And I got to looking, and that London model grip is what they kind of call it was a wasp body. So it's got to swell up towards the top, and then it thins down, then it swells out at the bottom. So kind of like an hourglass, if you will. And I really liked how that looked. And I thought about buying a new set of grips for that 51 Navy. And then I remembered my uncle's got a ton of walnut that he got from a cabinet maker years ago. And I'm talking high quality walnut burl scraps. And we're talking scraps anywhere from 4x4 up to, big chunks of it that they just didn't use or couldn't use. So I went down there this morning and I thought, I want to put a new set of grips on there. So I found a piece that had some beautiful burl. Oh my God, it was the most beautiful burl that we had in all them chunks. And I cut out a couple pieces and I started making grips, and I'm making the London model grip, which according to the book, they were not limited to just the London models. There was a limited amount of them that were made at the Hartford factory. So I spent most of the day trying to profile the grips. But I bought some 5-minute epoxy at the hardware store, and that crap would not glue anything together. It firmed up, looked real nice, and then all of a sudden they'd just go pop, fall off. Once it set, it just popped and turned loose. So I got one half of the grip done, and it popped loose. And I got ticked, and I went and got some 2-ton 30-minute epoxy and put on there, and I got it glued back together. It's sitting over there now. I haven't done much with it. I'm going to wait for that to cure for about 2 days. Then I'm going to go back and finish the other half of the grip. But what I've got done so far, it looks amazing. But I will definitely show that off. I might even do a regular video on that, just talking about the different grips that were available back in the day. Maybe compare them a bit to the modern grips. But, yeah, it's looking beautiful. So that's the project I was working on today. I'll probably be working on that later this week. I just had to take a break from holsters today because since I did the last video, I think I've worked on holsters just about every day since the last video, or the last live chat, I should say. All right, so I got to catch up on chat again. Oh, crap, jumped around on me. Where was I at? Crap, now I got to go back. So Nick says, I like the South version of the 51 Navy, being the Griswold and Gunnison myself. The South had lots of versions of the 51 Navy. So there's a Gunnison, Griswold. There is the Leach and Rigdon, which is almost identical to your average 51 Navy. Except on later models, they put some extra cylinder stops on the cylinder to work as a safety. And I was going to buy one of them from Uberti and send it to a gunsmith down in Texas and see if he could have him cut those extra cylinder stops in the cylinder so I could have an accurate reproduction of one. And then you had the Schneider and Glassic, which if you buy a brass-framed 1851 Navy, you are essentially buying a Schneider and Glassic Confederate revolver. But the Schneider and Glassics, there weren't a whole lot of them produced, not compared to the Gunnison Griswold. But one thing that I find in some of the modern Westerns, and even in somewhat in the reenactment division, is that the brass-framed guns are starting to become very much overrepresented. If you read historical documents, especially if you read up on John Singleton Mosby, most of their arms that they are using are Colt arms. The Colt 1860 Armory is very popular, as well the 51 Navy, and they took them off of defeated soldiers. So they were scavenging. You're going to find Colts more often on the battlefield than you're going to find the Schneider, Glassics, the Griswolds. Your brass frames, like I said, they're going to be very limited. And if you look at the manufacturing capacity, South wasn't turning out very many pistols. They didn't have the materials for it. The North was turning out a lot of them. And makes sense. You know, if you down an enemy and he's got a better revolver than you got, I'd be grabbing that if I was out on the field. But yeah, there's that one. Danson Brothers. There was a company in Texas for a short time that was making a copy of the Dragoon, which I was going to try to make a copy of. I was going to buy a third model Dragoon, and all I had to do is alter the hammer and be basically the same thing. But yeah, there's all of them are cool. That's all there is to it. But yeah, the Southern ones, they're definitely getting overrepresented, but it doesn't make them any less cool, that's for sure. Scott Grumpy, what did they load the Dragoons to back in the day? 50 grains, I think, was max. That's because that's what Colt recommended. I'd have to double check on that. Mark Hubbs has a video on that with making paper cartridges for the Dragoon, the early paper cartridges. So yeah, check out the Era's Gone Bullets Molds YouTube channel. I do believe it was 50 grains. Casey Scott, yeah, tons of books, and I'm always adding to my library. In fact, I spent a little bit more money than I should have been spending right now, being I'm between jobs. But I just bought a bunch on Fort Laramie and the Great Sioux War era, so 1860s into the 1870s. So I've been doing a lot of reading there. But I don't have a huge library, but I've got a pretty decent library. The sad thing is there was a big chunk of my library was on the hard drive of this laptop that I use for the streams. And as some of you probably recall, I had the issue of my hard drive went to crap, and I went to try to recover the stuff, and it was gone. The hard drive was dead. Somebody had told me that it was just the operating system had died, and I should be able to recover everything. I couldn't recover nothing. So all my PDFs I collected over a period of 4 or 5 years, gone. So I got to go back and look and try to find them again. But yeah, I do have a pretty good collection of books. There's a big chunk, I'd say a third of my library is just on Texas during the mid to later Republic era, and some of it goes into the later early statehood era. So up into the 1880s, from the late 1840s up to the 1880s. Another third of my collection is 1830s and 40s trapper era, to dealing with the Santa Fe Trail. So kind of getting towards the end of the trapper into the Santa Fe Trail era. And then the rest of it is just general everything, the Old West. Indian Sign Language. I got several books on Indian Sign Language because that's something I did at work when I worked at Vince that I tried to incorporate in my tours and my talks was, communication between the tribes, the Indian Sign Language, and communication with the traders and the trappers. Or Indian Sign Language was a universal thing on the plains, and I'm going to continue to do that program. Well, when I go to Fort Laramie, I've got books on trappers themselves. I got Custer's book, My Life on the Plains, which I started reading. I was enjoying, but then other things got in the way, so I haven't finished that one. Like I said, lately I've been reading up on Fort Laramie, which Bent's Fort, where I worked at, and Fort Laramie tie in to each other on several fronts. So Fort Laramie started out as Fort William, as a trading post in 1834 thereabouts. Later it became Fort John and went from being a wooden stockade to an adobe building. And, the old trading posts back in the day, they weren't military forts, but they're still called forts because they were fortresses. They were designed for defense. And then in 1849, Fort John was sold to the Army, became Fort Laramie, and operated up until 1890. But one of the characters that hangs out down around at Bent's Fort was Thomas Broken Hand Fitzpatrick. He later becomes an Indian agent stationed at Bent's Fort in 1847. And he operates there until Bent's Fort is abandoned in 1849. And then he heads up to Fort Laramie to basically start up the Fort Laramie Treaty 1851, which that treaty they wound up moving because 10,000 Indians showed up to that thing. They didn't have enough resources at Fort Laramie, so they actually moved it over into Nebraska. So kind of got a misnomer, but it started out at Fort Laramie. And in that, also another person that had played a key role at Bent's Fort was John Smith. He was a main trader there, one of the main traders with the Cheyenne. And he was had close ties to Cheyenne. He was married into the tribe, did all the trading with them. He was their interpreter, and he went to the Fort Laramie to be the interpreter for the Southern Cheyenne. So yeah, lots of history there, and history out here in the West, I just love it. Civil War history, I don't read much up on except for like John Mosby. I've read up on him, Quantrill's Raiders. Out here in the Civil War, there just wasn't that much going on. The only Civil War battle we really had out here was Glorieta Pass. When they came up from Texas, I can't remember if it was Canby or Sibley. Both of them, General was on that battle, but I can't remember which side each was on. That's pretty bad of me, but that happened down there in New Mexico, so that's as close to the Civil War as what we got. And during that time, that's when you see the Plains Indian Wars start, because 1864, you have the Sand Creek Massacre. 1865, you have some difficulties up in around Fort Laramie. I can't remember the one. I want to say Garnett was one of the guys that was in on that. They had a little difficulty with the Sioux up there. And then after the Civil War, 1866 and 1867, boy, you start into Red Cloud's War and the Bozeman Trail. You get the Fetterman Massacre, the Wagon Box Fight. And then things kind of get peaceful there in 1868 when they have the second Treaty of Fort Laramie, the Treaty of 1868. And then they start finding gold in the Black Hills in the early 1870s, and everything blows up again. So that's our little bit of history for the night. Casey Scott, I got a pair of walkers. One day I'll use them for cowboy action. Yeah. So I was going to get into a cowboy action group down here, but I didn't have enough money to buy a rifle to do it. I have the shotgun. I got enough pistols to cover it. And then they have this one competition they call Josie Wales. So instead of shooting a rifle, you just shoot an extra pair of pistols. And I thought, that'd be fun to go shoot the Josie Wales shoot and actually have a pair of walkers. But I just haven't got into cowboy action shooting. Someday I might, but financially, it's just not something I'm going to get into right yet. That, and then you got to commit, and I can't commit to clubs like that. I'll do it a couple times, and then I wind up losing interest. Um, what manual is that? Is that God, Poinset's? Nick, on that the one you're talking about there? Jay Wheeler, Dancing Brothers Revolver is a beautiful one. Yeah, they make a nice revolver too. Them Confederates, they made some interesting ones. Lamat is by far the most fascinating of them, but I am not going to pay $1,400 for a Lamat revolver. I was going to buy one, and then they went up in price. They skyrocketed. And I eventually, Piet ain't going to make them anymore because nobody's going to want to buy them for that price. Okay, Nick. Signing off. Nick, if you're still there, good night. We'll be in touch, I'm sure. Jay Wheeler signing out. See ya, Jay. Sean Sprinkle. Sibley was. Yeah, I think you're right. It's late at night, and God, I read so much I can't keep track of everybody who's who. That's the thing is I cram so much information into my brain I can only retain so much. So if I don't keep up reading and rereading, I gotta lose it. All right. Looks like everybody's starting to kind of sling off here. We've gone for about 2.5 hours. Seems like every time I start a chat, I have it in my mind that I'm going to do it for about an hour and a half, and then we wind up going for 2 hours. I think we went 3 hours the last one. Wes Cavina says, "Hey, Squib, like the Coors review, thanks." I didn't see Squib. Is he on here? I didn't see him pop in. Didn't see him pop in on the chat. Yeah, Squib's here. Figured he was probably there. Oh, okay, Squibload. I got you now. Okay. All right. I see. That's why I didn't say catch you. Oh, Squib lift. Okay. Duh, now it makes sense. All right. As I was getting late at night. Eyes are getting tired. I had a long day today. Aggravating day, but I finally got something done that I want to do with that grip on that 51 Navy. And like I said, when I get that done and get it looking nice, I will show it off on here. But it's going to have some beautiful burl in it, that's for sure. I just hope the burl isn't just at the surface of the wood because I got a lot of wood I got to take down. I figured 3/4 inch piece of wood wouldn't give me a lot to play with, but it actually gave me quite a bit to play with. But I'm hoping that this epoxy that I put on there is going to hold up better than that first batch because that first batch was shit. I usually try not to cuss on the channel here, but that was just complete crap. And what's funny is I joked with the lady at the hardware store when I went and bought the glue this morning. She asked me if I wanted a receipt, and I said, yeah. I said, the glue don't stick. I'm bringing it back. I cursed myself because the glue didn't stick. I'm tempted to take it back. Oh, that glue is crap. Squibload's got a good one here. Let me find it on the... Yes, I am. So what I'm working on now, and we showed this earlier in the chat, I got a bunch in the bin. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holsters that are not stitched yet. I got 2 that are stitched up. I just got to put toe plugs in. And I've got, minus the one that was a custom order, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where'd the custom order one go? Crap. Alan, what'd I do with your holster? Shit. Oh, I set it down here somewhere. Oh, It's in the bin. Okay, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 minus the custom order one that are stitched up, ready to go. Actually, 5. Well, this 5th one's actually finished. This is going to go up online. This was a custom order from a year ago, and the guy never got back to me. So it's going to go up for sale. So yeah, I've got a bunch I'm trying to crank out. One reason is I need to buy more leather, which thankfully we had a donation on here that's going to buy some leather. So they're going to go up here as soon as I can get them finished, which I'm hoping by the middle of next week I'll have them finished and ready to go. I've been fighting with this pattern because they're getting cattywampus on me. We talked about this a little bit earlier too, but this was the first one I made of that. Come out straight as a whistle. And this one's not going to go for sale. For those of you just chiming in, this is my personal one. That one was straight as a whistle. The next one I made was this one. Same pattern. I fought with it. This one I was going to put up for auction on eBay. And like I said earlier, I don't know if it's going to happen or not because I've got some spots that just got way down thin where I had to get it to match up. Almost got into the thread. But I want to put a toe plug in it. I'll see if I can make it look nice. If I do, that one's going to start at 120 on the bidding. If they don't turn out as nice, I'll start the bidding a little bit lower. But yeah, I'm going to be trying to get them cranked out here so I can get a little extra money for when I move. So one, I can buy leather so I can keep making holsters when I'm up there. And two, I'm going to need a little extra money when I move if they don't pass the stimulus package, which I don't know what the status on that is, if that's happened or if it's going to happen. But yeah, I've been sitting as tight as I can. Wound up not doing very much for hunting in the spring for the last bit of duck and goose because been sitting on what I got until I can get up there. And once I get established up there, then things will be a little bit easier. But let's see. I got to catch up. Casey Scott. I've got one Sharps. I've got my 74 Cabela's Hunter model, which I swapped the sight out and put a Billy Dixon sight on. Now I just haven't shot as much. I haven't shot anything really for the last year because when COVID started, I got delayed at work. I didn't really have the money to go renew my NRA membership and my range membership, which was all said and done by the time I renewed the NRA and paid the range membership was almost $100. Then Wayne Lapierre ticked me off in the NRA earlier this year, and I decided that with that fiasco, I was not going to give him my money if Wayne was using it to buy his fancy dinners and fancy suits and things I didn't renew with the NRA. I can't get into my shooting range because you got to have an NRA membership to be a member there. So I haven't shot anything really much. Well, I did go out. There's a free range, but it's about a 45-minute drive away. I did go over there and shoot a little bit when I was trying to sight in the 25-06 that I was using for deer season and found out my Vortex scope went to hell. That was really the only pleasure shooting I had. That was when I was trying to, like I said, sight in for deer season. And I was heading over there to go fishing anyway. So Garrett Woods is signing off. Good night, Garrett, if you're still there. Northwoods Cowboy, I'll be sure to send an email when you get the stuff ready for the Schofield holsters. I got head work here in a bit. All right. Yeah, just send me an email, and I'll do a chat next week. Might do it on Tuesday instead of Wednesday because Living History comes live as he does a live chat on Wednesday night, so I don't want to cross over with him because I know a lot of my viewers are his viewers as well. So probably Tuesday or Thursday night we'll do a chat, and hopefully I will have pattern by then. I think the mold is supposed to be delivered Monday morning, next Monday. So we'll see. I know when I get it, though, I'm going to start trying to see what I got that'll fit it. I have a pretty good idea that this one right here is going to fit. But I won't know until I get it in there. The nice thing about the Smith & Wesson styles, they don't have that ejector rod, so that makes it a little easier on some of these holsters. Gives them a little more room. But, yeah, I'm going to get into that next week and see what we can get done. And that's why I'm saving that one last piece of leather. Once I get holsters made, I'll use that piece of leather. I'll make a bunch of Schofield holsters, and then the rest I'll make what I've got here. Figure out which one's going to sell the best. So far, out of all my holsters, the 51 Navy models and the Bohannon holsters have been my best sellers. I've sold the most of them. I've sold a lot of the Bohannon style, but the interest in them has kind of gone down, and Bing's Netflix dropped Hell on Wheels. I imagine the interest is going to continue to decline in them. So Sean Sprinkle, I'll miss this one. The only reason I remember is because I watched The Good, Bad, and the Ugly yesterday. Yeah, Good and Bad, the Ugly. Yeah, they're in New Mexico, so yeah, that's kind of the Glorieta Pass fight. So yeah, because Squibload was talking about that too. That's kind of what's going on out there is that Canby and Sibley are going at it. So Squib, yeah, March is going to be a good time to buy holsters. And once I get started at the job up there, holsters are going to become mainly a side gig again. But I'll still, if I can get leather and get up there and have a place to work on it, I should be able to turn some out. It'll depend. One problem I had last year why I didn't get anything done is one family was more important, and I had so much other going on. I was raising a garden. I was trying to spend more time with family doing fishing and stuff, and it just took it out of me. And then, when I get done from work, I come home, I'll be so damn tired because I usually got stuck with the late shift most days of the week. I'd be so damn tired, I just didn't want to do anything with them. I just wanted to come home and go to bed. There's not much out here in the Western theater of the Civil War, to be honest. Not with North and South fights. Mostly it's, the very early days of the Indian Wars is what's going on out here in Civil War. 1864 was a really hot year out here. And then also another event that was going on. We'll add some more history in here just to make it fun. So another thing that's going on out here in 1863, I believe, there was a couple of Hispanos that was living over in the San Luis Valley, northern New Mexico, southern Colorado. And their family, had been kind of displaced by the Mexican-American War because once the Americans took over, a lot of the Mexicans had lost, their rights to land and stuff, and the Americans were moving in. Same thing was happening to the Indians as happening to them. And there was a man by the name of Espinoza. He started kind of getting fed up with how things were being done. So him and his, I believe it was his brother or brother-in-law, I can't remember. They decided to go on a killing spree. So all along, places here on the Front Range, clear up into the South Park area, they just went on a killing spree. Just go out and killing whoever they came across. At one point, they almost got captured. One of the two got killed. And so the main Espinoza, I can't remember his first name, he got in with his younger cousin, and they continued the killing spree. And they started getting down over into the Alamosa area, Fort Garland, which that ain't too far from where I'm at. I mean, that's a 2-hour drive. So they're coming down through the Front Range there. And I think Uncle Dick Wooten in his autobiography talks about the Espinozas coming to his toll station, because he had a toll station, where he served food and stuff, kind of like a stage station, and you paid him there to use his road. If I remember right, he talks about the Espinozas coming in, and he recognized them. But shortly after that, his buddy Tom Tobin, and Tom Tobin, he's kind of a rough and tough character. A lot of them guys were back in the day. They had to be. They had no nonsense about them. And anyway, the killings are getting out of hand, so the Army gets a hold of Tom Tobin, and they say, hey, can you catch these guys? And Tom Tobin says, yeah, we'll try. So Tom Tobin gets to tracking them, and he takes a few Army guys with him and has a young boy. I don't remember what the story was with the young boy. Anyway, they tracks him down, and Tom Tobin, he's carrying a friggin' Hawken rifle. It's a huge Hawken rifle. If I remember right, they said that thing weighed like 20-some pounds. Anyway, he shot the older Espinosa. The Army guys shot the younger one. And after they shot him and killed him, he went over and he cut the head off the other older Espinosa, told the young boy to go cut the head off the other one, stuck him in sacks, rode down to Fort Garland. And the story here is it's not quite clear what exactly happened or how it happened. But it went along to the effect that either the officer, the commander of the post, was having a dinner or a party with the other officers, or an officer's call, one of the two. And Tobin walks in with a sack, and he asks Tobin, he says, well, how'd you do? And Tobin said, oh, so, and dumped the heads out on the ground in front of all the women and created quite a stir. And what was funny is it used to be they had a I don't know if you call it a rendezvous, they had kind of like an encampment over there, reenactment. And for years, they reenacted with plaster heads of Tom Tobin walking in and dumping the heads out on the ground. But people, started to get more mindful of those kind of things in the 80s and were getting upset about it, so they quit doing that reenactment. But, yeah, there was lots of cool history going on out here. It wasn't really directly war-related, but it was going on at the same time. So there wasn't a lack of excitement out here. There was still excitement going on. It was just, a little bit different, but it gets so obscured because all the focus in the history is what's going on back east. All right. So I kind of went off on a tangent there, but yeah, we had some good history. So Scott's signing off. He's going to email me about a Gus holster in a week or so. Yeah. And if you're still there, Scott, just keep in mind on that holster if what I've got for leather, because like I said, them Schofield models are going to take priority on this last piece of leather I got, but I think I can probably squeeze in that Gus holster because that don't take up too much leather. And in fact, I might have enough scrap laying around, big enough pieces of scrap that I could probably make one out of that. In fact, yeah, I've got a piece of leather right there I think I could get one out of. Okay, Casey Scott. Got a 45-110 Shiloh you'd love to shoot. Recoil is unreal. I paper patch those with a bunch of advice from Kenny Wassenberg. Kenny is... Somebody told somebody on the internet here that I was the authority on holsters. Kenny Wassenberger is the absolute authority when it comes to Sharps rifles and the bullets of the time period. Kenny is a wealth of knowledge. And... he helped me out when I was trying to develop a load for my 45-70, but I was trying to develop a load based on a bullet that should be coming out of a 45-110. And so my load development went to crap, and then I quit playing with it because it got too spendy for me. But I would love to have a Shiloh 45-110, but for no more than I get to shoot them big guns, that's going to be one of those when I finally get enough money that I can spend on just about anything. Which that's probably not going to happen in my lifetime, but I would definitely love to have a Shiloh. I think if I get another historical gun, the next historical gun on the list is going to be a 66 Winchester. Probably the Uberti rendition. Like I said, I'd love to have a Shiloh, but yeah, there's a lot of money that goes into a Shiloh. Somebody offered to sell me one time. He wanted $2,400 for it. I just did not have that kind of money. I'm the kind of guy, the most I'll spend on a rifle is about $1,000. I won't spend more than $1,000 on a rifle, and I won't spend more than $500 on a pistol either. With the exception of I would buy a Schofield if I could find one that's $600 to $700 range. The only $600 pistol I got is a Pieta Patterson, and that's a piece of crap, and I wished I never bought the damn thing. I like the gun. It's good for a display piece, but it's for if you want it for something to shoot, don't waste your money on it. $5,000. Wow. Yeah, Kenny's a good wealth of knowledge. It's just that every time I want to go ask him something or about something, he gets in trouble on Facebook so much he isn't hardly on there. You'll see him post some stuff, and all of a sudden you won't see him for a long time. Then he'll post back, "Yeah, I'm out of Facebook jail." I like Kenny a lot. I wish I could get to meet him in person. I'm actually going to be up in this part of the country here when I get up to Fort Laramie. So maybe I'll get a chance to get a good chance to meet him. But yeah, Kenny's a good guy. I like Kenny. And he's got a lot of records, too, in shooting. I know he's come down through Bent's Fort a couple times, but he always has come through when either I'm not working or he comes through early in the morning or late in the evening after it's closed. I've seen him post pictures from Bent's Fort, and it's like, yeah, I was just working there. Why didn't you stop and say hello? But okay. I'll have to look at that, Casey. Yeah, I know he's come through down there Bent's Fort on his way to Raton several times. So one of these days I'm going to get a chance to meet him. And maybe I might have a better chance. Like I said, being I'm going to be up in that area, his part of the country here. I was wanting to go to one of his mile shoots, but then I found out the 4570 won't reach out to a mile. So I was like, I don't know if I'm going to waste the time going and doing that. But one of these days I'll meet him. Sit down, we'll have a good conversation. He did some videos, I thought, on YouTube on the loading for the 45 110 sharps, and I thought he was going to do some more, but he didn't. But I know he's got a real nice 6.5 Swede, and I think he's got a T-Ken 6.5 Swede too. I know he does some long distance shooting with. Well, Casey, yeah, if you get up there this summer, definitely stop by Fort Laramie and say hello. I may not have enough. I may not be able to spend a lot of time chatting with you, but it would definitely be nice to visit with one of my viewers. So, like I said, anybody that decides to come to Fort Laramie, say hello. I'm glad to meet viewers. But just keep in mind that I'm there for the benefit of the public, not just everybody. So if I don't get a chance to spend a lot of time with you, don't take offense if I can't sit and talk and spend a lot of time. Because that's one thing that I had to have a discussion with one of my supervisors when I started down there at the fort, is because I would get to chatting with one person there at the fort, and they told me, "Oh, you got to make sure you spend time with everybody that comes through, not just one person." But at the same time, not everybody that comes through has the same level of interest. There was a couple times I get talking with somebody that just loved Western history and get to talking about the history of the location. God, I sit and talk to them for an hour and a half, just about the history of it. And then you get people that, you can't even get a hello out of them half the time. They just come through there just to look. All right. Well, we're going to shut this down here in a couple minutes. It looks like Casey Scott's about the last one on here that's still interacting, still chatting. Let's see. It says there's still 12 of you watching. But yeah, while I'm up there in Laramie, I'm going to take some time and get over, because I got the Museum of the Fur Trade not too far away over in Chadron. I got to go there one time, and yeah, if you're interested in fur trade era history, yeah, that's a wonderful place. But one time I was there, a tornado was coming through where I was heading to in South Dakota, so I kind of had to get on the road and go. But I want to head over there again to that one. That's not too far away from that area. Over in Nebraska, also by not too far away from that, is the Fort Robinson State Historical Park. They got some wonderful stuff there. And I was there once. I went to the little museum where they've got the two mammoths that they found that had died interlocked fighting, and he killed a coyote in the process of falling down. I went to that little museum there. I know they was doing stage rides when we was there, but I didn't get a chance to go look at that stuff because we was with a volunteer group of the Forest Service, and we just stopped to look at that museum. There's several other little historic sites there, and around that part of Wyoming. But I spent quite a bit of time over in Lusk one year as I worked up for the Wyoming Dinosaur Center up in Thermopolis, and they sent me to a dinosaur quarry over in Lusk. I hated working there, but I loved going to the Silver Dollar over in Lusk for supper. Yeah, I'm going to probably end it here pretty quick because it's starting to quiet down. When things start to quiet down, that's about when I start to end it. That's the thing. Like I said, I try the idea of running them an hour and a half. I like to try to keep them under 2 hours, but then everybody's got so many good questions that, try to go through every one of them. Let's see, Squib. Squib said send me. Okay, I'll keep an eye out for it, Squib. But yeah, it's getting late anyway. Yeah, for the last week I've been working on these dadgum holsters to try to get them done. So I've been starting working on holsters about 11 o'clock in the morning, 10 to 11 o'clock in the morning, going until midnight working on them. And the biggest portion of it, the stitching takes a long time to do. But I enjoy doing the stitching. Toe plugs, they take a while because I glue them in. I just find that it's a hell of a lot easier to glue the toe plug in. I usually don't glue the seam on a holster, but I glue the toe plugs in just because they're a pain in the butt to sew if you don't. And you got to wait for them to dry. And in fact, I got one here. I got to punch holes and finish sewing that one in. This holster will be just about done for the stitching part. Wes Covina signing off. We'll see you, Wes Covina. Yeah, what the heck? We're at 2 hours and 47 minutes. We'll run it for a full 3 hours. So 11:15. We'll have a 3-hour chat again. What the hell? But it looks like I said, it's looking like it's starting to slow down. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to try to get these turned out this weekend. I missed the last day of hunting season. So hunting season is done, so I got no excuse for not doing them now. And that's the other thing. I'm going to miss turkey season this year if I start up at Fort Laramie when they're planning on starting me, as I think they're wanting to start me April 11th, and that's opening day of turkey season down here. And, of course, I burned up my points and drew in a unit that we started hunting on last year. I had 2 or 3 points saved up, and I burned them because I thought, well, draw there, and I can buy an over-the-counter tag. I can shoot 2 turkeys this spring. Yep, drew that tag. Of course, I found out I was going to be starting April 11th after it was too late to cancel that tag on that turkey. And turkey season, you can't return the tags. At least I don't think you can. So I got 1 tag that I'm probably not going to get a chance to fill. I got a month and a half to do it in. I might be able to get back and shoot a bird, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. If I get enough holsters sold that I can have enough gas money and gas doesn't go up to frickin' $4 a gallon like I've heard it said it's going to do, I might be able to get back and do turkey. And if I do, I'm going to try to talk with the landowner and see if he's okay with me filming it to put on YouTube, and we'll have a hunting video finally on here. I filmed some hunting videos, but we didn't shoot anything, so I haven't bothered putting them up. So yeah, for any of you that are interested in any of the Martini Henry stuff, I recommend you go over and check out West Covina Dodge's channel. He's got some great stuff on. He shoots some Martini Henrys. I'd love to have one. I was going to buy one, but at the time I didn't have the money to do it. One of these days I might still do it, but Martini Henrys are kind of a bitch to load for from what I watched online. If I was to get one, I considered getting one in 303, Brit 303, but I don't know if you can shoot the modern smokeless loads through them or not. Yeah, my other dog over here is telling me it's about time to go to bed. She can't sleep with the lights on. She's over here grunting and moaning and groaning. We'll give it another 10 minutes here, unless it really, really stays slow, and then I might shut it off at 5. But see, Casey Scott, I bought a sewing machine because I was tired of hand stitching, but wasn't doing it right. I was using a speedball hand stitcher and no pricking punches or all to open the hole. Yeah, that's the one thing I do. So when I'm stitching a holster, I take a pricking iron, and I have found that I just use the double, because I find if you jump back and forth between the double and the 4, when you go to punching straight lines, that things just don't line up right. But I use that. I punch both sides. And some holsters I can line them up. Everything lines up perfect. Some of them, they're always 1 or 2 holes off. Some of the worst ones get to be 3 holes off. But yeah, I always do that. I always use this. And the reason why I punch both sides is why I tried one time gluing a holster together and punching both sides at the same time, and they did not line up at all. And then the glue actually wound up turning loose, and that piece got turned into something else. And then when I'm doing toe plugs, I have a special awl for that. Where'd it go? Did I stick it back in the? Yeah, because I don't want to break this. This is a nice awl. So for my toe plugs, I use this. It's a Tandy Craft Tool Pro, and this is the longest diamond punch awl that I could find. Now, I'll warn you, if you buy this one, the first thing you need to do is get some 600 grit sandpaper, and you got to sand it down until these edges get sharp. Otherwise, this ain't going to punch a hole through paper. They're pretty damn dull when you get them. The reason I got the longer one is because I actually bought a shorter one, and I've got that over here. Somewhere. All right. Oops. I'd be kind of careful what I show there, because I didn't do my belt biting into my belly button. So I got the short one. It's number 1. And this one worked okay, but because it's so short, when I punch a hole in the toe plug, this part of the brass would leave an indent in the toe plug, and I wasn't liking that. And I couldn't get them lined up to go from the hole side in. I can't get them to line up enough to go this way and hit that stitch groove. And you go this way and it leaves a mark. So I ordered this longer one, and then I can punch a hole through and it don't leave the mark on it. I don't remember what I paid for this. I know it wasn't cheap. I think I paid $30, $40. Well worth it though. Definitely well worth it. Just got to remember, you got to sharpen them when you buy them. Same was true for this one. I had to sharpen the heck out of this one, but this one, if I remember right, didn't take as much on the sharpening. It was pretty sharp when it came. I just had to kind of touch it up. That Tandy one was not sharp at all. Squib Load got his Martini Henry Mark IV from Smoky Mountain Knife Works back in 2013. Yeah, that was a long time ago. That's when you could get them. They're kind of hard to find now. I know it was back in 2016, 2017, maybe a little later. I know there was a bunch of them that was going for sale, or maybe it was early. I don't remember, but there was a bunch of them that was going on. There was lots of videos on YouTube, but you had to take them. They was packed in yak fat, and you had to clean the crap out of them. But they was really good guns once you got them cleaned up. But I just didn't have the money at the time to swing it. And I looked at a lot of times when I look at a gun, what determines whether or not I buy it is the availability and the cost of ammo. That's why I've passed up some historical pieces I otherwise would have bought. There's a LaBelle, I think it was a LaBelle bolt action I passed up, and another bolt action. We talked about this on one of the earlier chats. I passed them up on a gun store, and they were only a couple $100, but it was all because of the availability and price of ammo. Squibload says got combination tool, bayonet, scabbard, and repro sling for it. Nice. Yeah, I remember when Mosin and got you could buy them. They come with an ammo pouch, sling, bayonet, cleaning tools. I was going to buy one. That's when you get it for $100. And then they had this little carbine over there, Chinese carbine, that had been sporterized for $119. I wound up buying it. It didn't come with the accessories, but I wound up buying a old beat up World War II stock for it. And I put the bayonet lug back on it, and it's sitting over here somewhere. It's buried in my house somewhere, but I haven't shot it because I can't get the front sight post back in. But yeah, I like my Milsurps. Jesus. Squibload says about $9 a round to make 577 450 cartridges. Yeah, that's the big thing that turns me away from a Martini Henry. Casey Scott. Yeah, I'd love to have a Spencer too. But like you said, they ain't cheap. I had a chance to buy one at Cabela's for $1,400 when I got my Sharps. The only reason I didn't is it was in $56.50. And I looked at the price of ammo. And again, that's one of those, the price of ammo is what turned me away from it. That's the only reason I didn't get that Spencer. But, I wish now, for what I do for living history, I wish now I would have bought the Spencer over the Sharps. Just because my Sharps with a pistol grip on it is not quite historically accurate. But, like I said, it was the price point of the ammo is what turned me away. Casey Scott, that's like my 458 lot. Yeah, that's a gun. Is yours a bolt action? I don't remember who I was watching. It was Tex Grebner. I was watching him. I think he has a 458 lot. And I was watching him shoot that thing, and I thought, I like them big, hard-kicking guns, but I don't know if I would buy I don't think I'd buy one. Just for one, cost of ammo, and two, I really don't think I would want to shoot anything in North America with that big of a round. CZ 550 mag, yeah, I figured probably somebody was making. God, I can't remember what it was. There was a guy who was advertising. He was taking M1 Garands and converting them from 30-06 to 458 Winchester Magnum. I had a buddy that bought one of them, and he said, "Holy crap!" Because he told me, according to him, I haven't got a chance to fire a Garand. I wish I had, but according to him, he said it kicks just as bad as the 30-06 rounds in it. That's another one I'd love to have as an M1 Garand, and I had a chance to buy one time, and I didn't take it. That was when I was in the market for my first AR. Armored car season's coming up. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I told the story before. When I bought my first AR, I walked into the store and everything they had was in $1,200 to $1,400 range. And I went in there with it in my mind on buying an AR. I was going to buy a gun that day. And I looked at the price tag and, God, if I'm going to buy that, pay that much for it, I'm going to buy something that I'm going to enjoy. I would buy with the M1 Garand. And I walked around that store and everything I was seeing was $1,200 to $1,400 ARs. I mean, they're custom built. They got all kinds of weird stuff on them. And I'm wanting just a plain old AR that I can just shoot coyotes with out of the tractor. And, I looked around. I was just about ready to walk back over and pick up that M1 Garand, take it to the counter and say, let's do it. And I walked around the corner and they had this bunk of used ARs there. And they had a Sig Sauer whatever the designation model number is. I think it's 400 MP4 or something. Anyway, they had that one there. They had a Smith & Wesson MP15, and I looked at the Smith & Wesson. I didn't really care for it because it had that real tall A-frame post, which that was one thing on an AR I didn't want, was the big tall sight post. And it didn't have a back sight with it, so I was going to have to spend money on another back sight, rear sight. And I had a low profile Vortex red dot sight. That was the other reason why I was looking for something that didn't have that tall gas block sight on it, is because I was looking to use that red dot. Well, then I looked, and then they had that Smith & Wesson one there, and they had it for $800, and I said, all right, that's the one I'm going to go with. So I bought it, took it home, started shooting it, and first thing I did is I burned my damn hands on the gas block because I tried to reach up and grab it a little too far forward, and I said to myself, you know what, if I'm going to shoot this thing, I'm going to fix it up. So that was when I got home. I had a buddy that he worked on ARs. I asked him, I said, hey, would you help me put a low profile gas block and a rail on it? And we bought the rail and the gas block and put it on there, and it was real good, and I really enjoyed shooting it. And then for some reason, I put a scope on it for coyote hunting, and all of a sudden started shooting real crappy and just throwing bullets everywhere. And I assumed it was a gun. So I went and rebarreled it and had them put a 20-inch heavy target barrel on there. No, it was 24-inch heavy target barrel. Started shooting it again, same damn thing. Damn scope went to hell, my Vortex scope. Of course, I still thought it was my loads of the barrel or something wasn't quite right, so I kept the scope, and I wanted to put it on the 25-06. And with the increased recoil of 25-06, it increased the amount of screw-up that the scope had, and I found out pretty damn quickly how screwed up that scope really was. So damn scope cost me a good 16-inch barrel, and thankfully that target barrel I put on there, the gunsmith sold it to me for $125 and installed it for free in exchange for the parts that I didn't use off the short barrel, the 16-inch barrel. Traded the gas block and the gas tube. Squibload says my Garand is my favorite gun. Yeah, it's a fun gun, that's for sure. Casey Scott, I got an M1 Garand too. Love it. Don't know if I'd want one in 458 Win Mag. It would be cool. Yeah, 458. That's another one of those. It's a little bit big for what I'd want to hunt. I like my 30 cals. I really do. And I love my 6.5 Creedmoor. I love that thing to death. I know 6.5 Creedmoor is kind of like the hipster gun of the shooting world, but that was the first gun that I bought, and out of the box, I put a Vortex Diamondback on it, tactical, the one that goes up to 24 power zoom. And the reason I went with that is it was first focal plane, and it had the triangle dots out so I could make adjustments without turning the turrets. I bought that, and I bought 4 or 5 boxes of Hornady match grade ammo. And once I got that thing sighted in, I took it out to 1,000 yards, and right off the bat, I was hitting targets at 1,000 yards with that thing. It was the first time I'd shot that far, got that accurate, and I hit a milk jug at 1,000 yards on the second shot. I hit a paint can. It took me about 5 shots to do that, to hit the paint can. I was close. I mean, it's shooting sub MOA. Probably not quite, just under 1 MOA, which at 1,000 yards, that's still pretty wide pattern. But I mean, it was shooting damn good. But when I started reloading for it, some guy gave me a recipe, and he's like, yeah, he says, you can't go by what's the max powder charge in the books. He says they're all wrong. Well, I did what he told me to do, and I started working my powder charge up. And you can get that thing over powdered quite a bit. You can go about 2 grains up from what the max load was in the books. And I did that, and I didn't even start to really get much for pressure signs other than the primers were starting to flatten a little bit. But I finally got it up to real hot to where it was, on the graph, it was showing that was the load it liked. But the thing of it is, I was having consistency with my spreads, my velocities, but I was shooting a freaking group at 100 yards out wide. So I finally went back and I looked around, and the last batch I shot, I'd loaded it way, way low. I cut it back to 39 grains of H4350. And that 39 grain group, my standard deviation wasn't as good as the real high powder charge load, but my accuracy was so much better. But I haven't played with it too much since then. But yeah, 43 grains of H4350 in the 6.5. It's really starting to flatten out primers. Gave really good data on the chronograph. Gave crap for accuracy. So I got to play around with it. Yeah, Vortex does have an excellent warranty, though, and I am going to send that one in. The only reason I hadn't done it yet is because I had my 6.5 for hunting season, so I just took that. But I've got the scope sitting back there. It's going to go back here before too long. Yeah, the only thing that turned me away from a loophole when I was buying a scope is that those scopes that they had at the gun store did not have. I wanted that first focal plane. I wanted that had the triangle of dots that went out, so that I didn't have to screw around with dials. So I just move the dots over and figure out what my windage and stuff was. Because one thing I've had experience with the scopes when you turn in the dials is sometimes they don't quite line back up, and they're always off just a little bit. But my Vortex Diamondback, I've not had a single problem with it, not one. I love my Diamondback. The other Vortex that I got that went to crap was a little bit cheaper. It was the Crossfire 2. I think if I was to buy another Vortex, I'd probably go with another Diamondback. I like that first focal plane. Squib load, yeah, I like to get a Trigicon too. I don't want to spend that much money on a scope though. I really, really do enjoy, like I said, I enjoy that Diamondback one. And my boss up in South Dakota, my old boss when I was working up there, he had the Vortex Viper HS Precision. He mounted that on his 300 Win Mag. And then he got the extra tall scope mounts. And then he got the 20 MOA rail. And we went and sighted that thing in at 100 yards. We bottomed it out. When we went to zeroed it in, we bottomed out the elevation turret. And then we had to hold the dot. It was shooting 16 MOA high at 100 yards. And I told him, I said, yeah. I said, you were wanting to shoot up to a mile or more. I said, that's going to get the job done. He should have went with the mid-height scope rings. But, yeah, I think that scope was sitting that high above the damn bore. We had to get a special-made stock and cheek weld on it. And, my God. Yeah, Casey, I know exactly which one you're talking about, and you're right. You've got it's high dollar. That's the Vortex was affordable. It was in my ballpark. So by the time I paid for the rifle and I bought the scope, I had right in and the bipod. I was right at $1,100, I believe, because I got the scope on sale for about $150 off. The rifle I got, I ordered it through the gunsmith, and he said Bings that he was getting an order from the company that he was buying from anyway. He could add it in, and he wouldn't charge me the extra $35 shipping fee. So I was able to get that for under $700. I think they was going at Cabela's. They was going $750 when I bought mine. When I ordered it through him, I got it for quite a bit less. In fact, I think he got me the wholesale price too. And he wonders why he has to, have a job on the side and run the gun business separate. But yeah, he was a nice guy. He treated you right. Just his he made up his difference. He treats you good on a gun, but he made up the difference in the ammo prices. As he was a little bit high on his ammo, but he did ammo as a side business too. He was a custom reloader, and he gave me some of his 6.5s to try. Talk about some hot rounds. Them I had to take a 2x4 and get the bolt open. They shot damn good, but they were a little bit too hot. I split the neck on one case on them. All right, so I went past what I said I was going to go by a little bit. If you got some last minute questions, comments, I'll give you a minute to get them in there, and then I'm going to shut it down here. I think we got about 10 viewers still, but chat's really kind of slowed down here. Let's see, I got a notification too. Okay, there was a guy for commenting on the chat. All right, we're going to shut her down. I've enjoyed having you folks on here tonight. As always, you guys provide for a good chat, great questions. For those of you who wind up watching this afterwards, do check us out on Living History Comes Alive. We'll be there on Friday night for a couple hours. And I will try to remember to share a link to that on my Facebook page. I'll try to post a thing on that here as well. But yeah, Friday night at 5 o'clock Mountain, so 7 o'clock Eastern. And don't know what they got in store over there, but I know Drew's going to ask me some good questions here. Mentioned to him on his chat earlier this evening about maybe we might do a little bit of trivia. That's one of the things he does on Mondays and Wednesdays is he does random trivia. They did Civil War trivia. They do Wild West trivia. I think tonight was movie trivia is what it was tonight. But anyway, be sure to check us out over there. That'll be real interesting because I can do a little bit more, talk a little bit more about my living history side of things. And of course, if you got gun questions and stuff, you can ask them over there as well. But yeah, I'm going to sign off here for tonight. So again, thank you all for coming over. Casey, thanks again for the super chat. We'll definitely put those funds to good use. And yeah, Squib, should be a good show. And hope everything works out or works good. And hope I don't get too many nosebleeds. We'll catch you all later. Take it easy. See you on the next one.